All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. I know I'm a little bit late. I'm sorry. I'm here. Whew. All right. So GDP data comes out today. It's actually a pretty big report. We'll see if it comes in good or bad. Last time, a lot of people were pushing this recession, like, oh, we're in a recession, and the data doesn't really show it. Now maybe we're heading towards one. Now you could argue that. But yeah. Let's get some music rolling in here. The Supermicro semiconductor squeeze could be one for ages. Yeah, let's take a look. Oh, man, I need a haircut, man. That's why I'm waking up this morning just realizing, like, I need a haircut. SPY, yeah, look at the SPY. SPY at 570s now. The question is, when's it going to hit 600? Currently sitting right now on the SPY, it's over lifetime highs. The previous lifetime highs were around 572s. Now the SPY is at 574s. Previous lifetime high was at 572.80s. So the last lifetime high was right here. So here's the last lifetime high. I'm thinking that's going to at least be some big support or resistance. Yeah, we're going to do a poll. Question is going to be, does GDP come in high? Higher or lower than what's the expected GDP number I'm showing? The expected number for GDP is 3%. All right, vote on that poll. Let me know what you think. Coinbase. Oh, we do have Jerome Powell this morning, too. I completely forgot about that. We do have Jerome Powell. My bad, guys. We're going to cover it, too. I forgot. Good. Oh, coffee's good, guys, honestly. Ed, my guy, if you hit John up with at least $5, you're guaranteed to have a green account come market close. Also, if you're having a bad morning, remember you could be short MU. Did MU do well on earnings? Thanks so much for the $10. I appreciate the donation. Thanks so much. Oh, MU is skyrocketing up. Nvidia up to 120s. Had a really good day yesterday. Gold. Let's take a look at gold. But yeah, SPY over lifetime highs. You can see the previous lifetime high right here, this light blue line. Gold breaking lifetime highs. SPY breaking lifetime highs. Nvidia breaking lifetime highs. And this is, this is what I try to tell people, you get people who tell everybody that a market crash or a recession is always inevitable. And it is always inevitable. Like, we're eventually going to hit a market crash, and we're eventually going to have a recession or depression or whatever. Recessions are more common, obviously, but it doesn't mean they're common. And so you have to understand, something I talk about pretty regularly here on my YouTube channel, and something that even the haters have got to give me credit for, is that when everybody else on YouTube was telling you the market was about to crash years ago, right here, when everybody on YouTube was telling you the market was going to crash and you should sell your stocks and only dummies are buying up stocks down here, I told you the market didn't have to crash, that the biggest edge in the market is on the upside, and a lot of people miss out on the biggest edge because they're steady watching for market crashes all the time, and they're not very common. And again, we ended up doing this huge return from where I said that. And so again, I was kind of an outlier here on YouTube, like everybody else on YouTube posting, hey, we're going to crash. And again, they certainly did. Right, they certainly did. People in my chat room did. Big YouTubers posted videos about it, about how a crash was imminent and all this stuff. And ultimately, that turned out to not be true, and I turned out to be correct. And it's just it's a really confidence boosting thing for me, because I can see, I'm not saying we never crash, but I don't know, again, I'm not one of those people. I think it's irresponsible to constantly tell everybody that we're about to, because again, nobody freaking knows. And one of the common themes of crashes is that generally only a very, very, very small percentage of people think we're going to crash. So it's certainly not a market ripe with crash predictors. Yeah, correction's normal. We just had a correction though. Like if we look at a daily chart, right? If we really look at the market objectively here, this that we faced right here on in July was a correction. So we had a correction right here in July. Pretty decent correction too. It wasn't necessarily small. If we look at it on a percentage basis, we dropped from 570 down to 510. And so we dropped on a percentage basis 10.5%. So we had a pretty big 10% correction here back in July. But again, the people who lose the most in big corrections are those that sell. The people who benefit the most are those who buy. And that's what happened. Now, again, I think the way is DCAing, like dollar cost averaging into these things, adding to your positions. That makes the most sense. Gold, again, breaking lifetime highs. You can see MU had earnings yesterday. They are breaking lifetime highs, and ultimately it's all dragging the market up. Nvidia testing pre-market high, not lifetime highs, but Nvidia is getting back up to where it was, to be honest. You think an overnight move on no news is justified, though? This is a big move. Also, where's the money coming from? No, there's news. Absolutely, there's news. The news is MU. MU had good earnings. So MU, I'm trying to see exactly what they posted here. We had CarMax numbers. But there's news. Again, the news number one is rate cuts, right? Rate cuts making the market go up. So yeah, the news was rate cuts last week, obviously. And so that news is going to have like a lagging effect. The other big news is MU. MU had earnings. They posted good guidance. They had quarter one EPS guidance at 154. They showed up at 182. First quarter revenue came in at 8.7 billion, plus or minus 200 million guidance. So that was good too. So yeah, they forecasted record revenue in quarter one. They see first quarter EPS. First quarter EPS of 182 on revenue of 8.9 billion, which is record. Quarter one revenue guidance is 8.7 billion plus or minus 200 mil. They end up posting revenue of 7.75 billion or 7.75 billion, EPS of 118. So they did better than expected for EPS. They posted 118 versus 113. They posted better than expected revenue or sales, came in at 7.75 versus 7.63. And they are gapping up a huge amount. And again, this is a microchip stock, so it's going to consequently influence Nvidia, and that's going to consequently influence the rest of the market. So good earnings, and the market's going up from it for sure. Am I the only one, or does this feel like the market is getting ready to screw a lot of people? I mean, it's possible. Again, we do have extension. I'm never one to say we're not going to I'm never one to say we are not going to crash. Again, I always tell people I don't know, right? And again, we do have some vulnerabilities. I try to give you guys both sides. I think eventually, if you throw darts at a dartboard, eventually you're going to hit it. And I think that's like a situation that we see ourselves in now, where I've been very accurate about telling people we don't have to crash. We're not going to crash. And I've been correct about it. At this point in time, though, we're starting to trend. Even I will admit, we're starting to trend towards a crash possibility. And again, this is something that I very rarely say here. And again, I'm not telling you to sell. I have no idea what you should do. But I think I think we got extension on a lot of stuff, you know, and that doesn't necessarily always mean bad, but I think a crash in this situation would look something like, it would either look like one of two scenarios, in my opinion, right? The first scenario is the market turning, Nvidia specifically coming down to $60, $70, $80 a share and dragging the rest of the stock market with it, consequently causing like a market crash. That's what I think a market crash looks like in today's market. It has to do with Nvidia and microchips. I think a big correction in microchips and Nvidia would cause a big dump in markets, and that might drag the market down. And I think that's one of the scenarios where if we are going to crash, that's going to be the first sign. I'm going to look for Nvidia and microchip stocks to correct big. You know, and again, right now we just don't have that. You know, we just don't have that. The other sign, obviously, is recession related. So, like, if we go into a deep recession, unemployment starts to spike, GDP starts to spike down, you know, the world economy starts to struggle, then, you know, that's another reason it might cause a lack of faith in stocks. You know, so there's some ways we could, but I don't know if it necessarily means. I don't know if it necessarily means we're going to, you know, and I think one of the things that identify like listen, you know, you got bearish traders that are predicting crashes, that are always telling us the market's going to crash, right? And again, part of the issue is arrogance. You know how many people I've had come to my live stream telling me the market was imminently going to crash, right? And it never did, right? Like I've had so many people come here and just be so arrogant. Like, when you talk about possibilities, where even if I just mention the possibility that it doesn't happen, they get upset and they complain and they whine. And again, just this big arrogance that you see, you know. And again, I said it once, I'll say it again. Generally, experienced traders understand how little they know. They're not ones making these crazy predictions and then getting arrogant about it, and then whenever they're wrong, kind of just saying manipulation or whatever it is to justify being wrong. Most of the time, experienced people know there's variance with the stuff, right? There is variance. There's going to be variance with all of this, you know? So, like, whether we're going to crash depends on a lot of different things. And it's not, you know, I said it once, everybody wants to be the next Michael Burry, right? But it's not easy to be the next Michael Burry. And Burry's been wrong 20 out of 18, or 18 out of 20 times, you know? Yeah, I mean, yeah, this has to do with MU, though, earnings, guys. MU posted better than expected results. Swatch CEO Hayek says considering taking the company private, according to Swiss press. Yeah, watches in general have been struggling. Like the watch market in general. Yeah, we're at highs, you know. Every crash in history, one of the common themes of it is, you know, a lot of the time, I don't know, it's really tough to tell, right? So we had this little mini crash, right? This last little mini crash that we had where we dropped, how much did we drop? 481 down to 350 bear market. So this last one we dropped about 27%. So this one was actually substantial, 27% downfall here. You know, this happened as we were breaking lifetime highs, right? We were breaking lifetime highs. We started to turn around from it, you know, and then we started to go back up. And so, yeah, You know, we could, if we do correct or crash, it could be as we're pushing lifetime highs. It depends on what it depends on whether we're talking about a flash crash or like a economic weak situation. You know, like here's 2008. 2008 was kind of the same thing, business as usual. We weren't really breaking lifetime highs, though. We were actually under previous lifetime highs, or at least right around it. We were right around lifetime highs, but sideways for a few years. Like, we had a little predecessor to 2008 and 2000, where it was a really weird market where we had multiple big downward swings. And today's GDP report is massive. You know, a lot of people were talking about we're in a recession or depression and all this stuff. But when you look at the numbers, they don't show that. And so, you know, when we look at the numbers, GDP showed last time 1.4%. This time they're showing up at 3%. And this is the second revision. So this is a more accurate view at the last one that showed up again at 3%. So we also have durable good orders, which somewhat influence everything too. Durable good orders change. They report the change in the total value of new orders of long-lasting manufacturing goods. Let's get some examples of this, just so you gotta have a better understanding. All right, so durable good orders. Can mean automobiles, aircrafts, computers, appliances, machinery, communications equipment, electronics, furniture, and defense equipment. So that's durable good orders released today. They are expected percentage-wise. So this is a percentage. They're expecting to decrease month to month, 2.8%. Last time they increased 9.9%. So we do see a decrease in durable good orders, 2.8% negative, which again is a sign of economic weakness. Let me put a timer up, and I'm gonna put. We got exactly an hour. All right, so we got exactly an hour. So we'll put this up on screen. Man, look at the SPY though. SPY has done crazy things. So here's lifetime highs. Now remember guys, it doesn't actually credit as lifetime highs until it happens after the opening bell. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't deal with that song. Super micro, yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people talk about super micro semiconductors. It's back up to 470, still kind of weak over the last couple, you know, almost all year. You know, starting in March, this thing has been downward trending, and relative to where it was in March, this thing's down a lot. It was at 1229s in March. It's now at 470s. So super micro semiconductors is down 62% since March. 62%. That's a crazy dip. That's a crazy drop, honestly. Yeah, Alibaba. Yeah, Baba did really, really well. Again, regardless of whether it does well or not, there's a reason I don't invest in it. I just don't touch it, right? Yeah, I just don't touch it. I'm not messing with Alibaba. The reason I'm not messing with it is because it's too hard to gauge. Not only manufacturing overseas, but the government there is difficult to gauge, right? It's hard to figure out. I think there's a lot of risks and vulnerabilities, and I think Alibaba, legacy company, been around a long time. has some really good things about it, but it's just never been a company. Like, I've held it for small periods of time. I don't want to hold it for long periods of time, you know, despite how good it looks. It's too unpredictable. In stocks, I need predictability, and I don't think it's that. Oil is down. Oil being down actually shows geopolitical stability, believe it or not. So, like, oil going down, like, oil spikes whenever it's uncertain. Conflicts arise, oil spikes, right? When oil goes down, it means, to a certain extent, the opposite, which is that we have some stability in pricing. It means that we have some stability in conflicts. I'm not saying it's stable, but it's more stable. I'm still lost as to why Nvidia beat and good outlook, but dropped at MU, same thing, and up. Well, because nothing's that predictable. You know, like, I really wish, look, guys, like, the easiest way to put it, I've said this many times. So if you're wondering why some stocks go up on good earnings, some stocks go down on good earnings, some stocks go up on weak earnings, some stocks go down on weak earnings, it's because it's simply not that predictable. Number one, that's the easiest way to understand it. Number two is because the actual moves, like the influence to those stocks, are happening in the months preceding the earnings report, not immediately afterwards. Like, you get some volatility, and obviously you get some reactions immediately afterwards, immediately after the earnings report, but the moves are getting baked in the months preceding the earnings release, not immediately afterwards. You know, and if it was that easy to make money, everybody would just sit around, and if a stock had good EPS, good revenue, they would just click buy and get rich. You know, if a stock had bad EPS, bad revenue, bad guidance, they'd just click short and get rich, right? It's just not that easy to make money. It's not that predictable, and the real moves are happening. The real moves are getting baked in prior to the earnings coming out, not afterwards, you know. But, you know, it's also not immediately following the earnings report. Let me clarify. Some of the moves will happen after the earnings report, but it's not going to be immediate. You know, it's going to take time. It's going to trickle in, you know, and so it's not something that, like, a lot of traders look at the first, like, 2 days after earnings, and they don't understand why a stock isn't doing something. But, you know, the real moves, the stock market's more long-term than that. The real moves take time to play out. Yeah, Nvidia earnings came out recently, like a few months ago. So Nvidia earnings are already out. Yeah, next Nvidia earnings are going to be in November, late November. We'll talk about Top Step later. Top Step is a sponsor of mine, but we'll talk about it later. I try not to plug anything in the first few hours of the stream. Don't know if you've heard about GDP is heavily revised down. They're expecting GDP to show up at 3%. That's not super revised down. That's about the same. Yeah, they're revising it at the same as last time at 3%. Now, maybe it's wrong. Maybe it's different. Maybe it changes. Maybe it comes in low. I don't know. All right. Organic Fruity Pebbles. There is organic Fruity Pebbles. I love Fruity Pebbles, you know. Honestly, I don't know how, but I can still eat whatever I want. I don't really gain any weight except for, like, muscle, and I'm still kind of skinny, you know. Like, my metabolism still hasn't caught up yet in my mid-30s. I don't know how, you know. I really don't. I know my dad was always like that, and maybe it's just genes, but... How does Tesla go before the robo-taxi? Well, yeah, Jiu-jitsu certainly helps, but I've only been training Jiu-jitsu for about a year. You know. I'm getting good with those bow and arrow chokes, though. I really am. Like, I'm getting pretty good with bow and arrow chokes. So I'm getting pretty good with bow and arrow chokes. Let me see if I can post it. But no, jiu-jitsu, like, I've seen some dudes come into jiu-jitsu who had, like, a gut, you know. And again, they can dress with that, do whatever they want to do, they live their life, right? But I've seen some dudes come in that were a little bit huskier, and they do jiu-jitsu for 6 months, and they are my size. They look like me afterwards, you know. And so, yeah. Like, jiu-jitsu really is, and I think, you know, I talked to my friend about it, one of my best friends. You know, he's got some size on him. You know, he's strong, right? But he's got some size on him, and he's gonna start training too. And the reason jiu-jitsu is good is because a lot of people find the gym, like going to the gym, boring, right? The gym's very boring. You go to the gym, it's not super entertaining. Like, you're not super pumped up about it or anything. Well, but when you do jiu-jitsu, it's the closest thing to a video game I've ever seen, right? It's super competitive, you know. You get good at it in the same way you get good at a video game. You get good at a video game or any sport or anything, really, by, you know, obviously you suck at the beginning, and then you kind of repeat, and if you persevere through the sucky part where you're not that good, and you just kind of keep going and keep going and keep going, eventually you start to get better, you know. It's so much fun, man. It really is. Like, I try to tell everybody, if you want to lose weight, do jiu-jitsu. It really is. Like, you'll have the motivation to keep going. And again, you can use your weight in jiu-jitsu a lot. Like, some of my tough rolls are against, like, people with some weight on them, you know. So it really is genuinely like a fun sport. See if it'll let me send this. Yeah, gold's breaking lifetime highs. SPY broke lifetime highs this morning. MU. I don't know if MU's breaking lifetime highs. No, MU's not even anywhere close to lifetime highs, but MU had good earnings, and it's ripping up now. Yeah, no, Roy Nelson used to KO people. Dad bods are fine. I'm not against it, you know. Like, live your life. Sometimes power comes from that too, right? Which is where you see, like, Roy Nelson knocking people out. You see Daniel Cormier, you know, my fellow Louisianian. What to expect here with GDP? Well, this is the second revision. So this is a revision on accuracy for the original estimate, which at this point is showing up at 3%, right? So this time they're expecting it to show 3%. This is a revision on that data. Gold is the real move. Well, gold's breaking lifetime highs again. If you look at gold here, gold's pumping up 2,700 plus today for gold. It just broke lifetime highs again now. Look at it. Yeah, dude, I sweat so much when I'm rolling. You are good, man. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. All good. Sorry, Jeffrey. Thank you so much for the dono, brother. I appreciate the donation, Jeffrey. Jeffrey says, how high does Tesla go before the robo-taxi event? I have no idea. I do think it's at 260s today. So look at Tesla. So Tesla now is at 260s, right? And I do think it's a buy the rumor, sell the news event. And again, I'm just basing that off of historicals, right? So in history, you know, you would see Tesla move up ahead of big events and then correct afterwards, right? We see this with a lot of different events in Tesla's life. Cybertruck event, you know, there's a bunch of different examples of this where Tesla moves up a lot preceding the big event and then corrects after the event. And so Tesla now at 260s, hit 261s, gapping up a lot leading into this report. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, we'll see. Hey, what's up, Frostbite? Hey, glad to hear you feeling better, brother. Yeah, Tesla's up a massive percentage, man. A ridiculously large percentage. What you realize, though, is like in jiu-jitsu, belts are really political. I don't know if they're political, but like I had one coach. He trained me for like 6, 7, 8 months, you know, and then he left and went to a different gym, you know, and so then we got a new coach, and the new coach, I don't even know if he knows how long I've been around, but I don't know if I'll have to wait another year or two. I know when I roll against white belts, right, like I am beating almost every white belt I roll against, you know, like I'm tapping them out there, you know, aside for a couple few, like we have these 4 guys that I train with, right? We call ourselves the White Belt Avengers, they are really the only other white belts in the gym that give me trouble. Some of them give me trouble. Yeah, most of them do. One of them's really good at heel hooks, leg locks. He actually says he watches the stream, so shout out to Lance. That dude has been drilling leg locks to where we're all scared at we're all scared of him now. Like anytime we roll with him, I just don't put my legs anywhere near him. I'm like sprawled out. And then the other guy, Drew, is probably the best white belt I've ever seen. He was a judo guy, so he was like a little bit better, but he's good too. He's the toughest white belt I've ever rolled against, but we have fun, man. We go train. What's up, Adrian? Yeah, Tesla up huge amounts. The question is, does it hold? The Cybertruck event, remember, is October 10th. So it's in about 2 weeks. Almost exactly 2 weeks from now. It is exactly 2 weeks from now is the Cybertruck event. And again, we'll see what it looks like, chat. We'll see. I'm ready for it. Yesterday, the day before, there was no clear support for Nvidia. It was just accumulation. All I can think of is don't chase the green candlesticks. Any advice on those patterns? How to recognize? Candlestick patterns can work. I wouldn't put all your weight on them in terms of profits, right? Because they can there's definitely a lot of variance that happens with candlestick patterns. So candlestick patterns can be great. They can be incredibly useful. But I would say if you're going to use candlestick patterns, use them in conjunction with other things, right? So don't just use candlestick patterns. Use candlestick patterns. Use volume. You know what I mean? Like use candlestick patterns, volume, some indicators like extension. Like use all of that together and then make an assessment of it. Don't just use candlestick patterns because candlestick patterns, they're based off of so many different things, right? Like high up wicks. If you see a candle that looks like this, that means there's selling pressure. Why? Because for the candle to go up and then down really quickly, that's where it forms that candle wick, right? So it means some selling pressure showing up. But at the same time, you can literally have moves that look like this and then have the next candle come out way up here, right? And you don't freaking know. Anything can happen. It's definitely not that predictable. And so if you're going to use candlestick patterns, you can. One thing that I've seen recently, and again, I've seen this recently, this has helped my trading a ton recently. One thing that I've seen recently is if you have a big up wick like this, a lot of the time recently, we're going to actually fill that gap and come up at least a little bit. And then we might come back down or whatever, but we're going to at least fill the gap on the up wick at least once recently. Not always, though. And again, it's just a straight up guess, to be honest. Yeah, let me download. So I got this rolling session. It's the first time I've ever been filmed rolling. A jiu-jitsu friend, Drew. A jiu-jitsu friend of ours, Drew. They told me I could use this, right? So originally I wasn't going to show you guys the film, but they told me I could, so I'll show you guys. But yeah, Drew here, again, best white belt I've ever rolled with, decided to film our session a couple days ago. So there's me, and this is JB. He's a black belt in judo. So this guy's JB. And you might not understand it. You kind of like fight for grips. You take somebody's back. He's got my wrist right here, so I can't really like get his back in a better way. And so he's trying to roll out of it, wrestle out of it. I set up what's called a bow and arrow choke right here. So a bow and arrow choke is when you, see, he's trying to stop me from getting it. Bow and arrow choke is where you grab their collar, wrap it around their back, and then pull on it like a bow and arrow. So watch, you'll see it. This is a bow and arrow choke right here. Yeah, it sucks. It hurts. It really does hurt. But it's actually the most common choke in gi jiu-jitsu is a bow and arrow choke. And then we roll again. And like my favorite thing is guillotines, right? So like you'll see me do a guillotine right here. I put my feet over his shoulder, which is a tighter version of it. You know? But yeah, we got a couple. We got some good footage. But yeah, it's like the first time I've ever seen myself roll before. Yeah, I at first I hated the gi. At first I hated the gi, but I've grown to like it. You know, I still like no gi much more, right? But I still trade in the gi regularly. You know, gi's most realistic for self-defense, I think too. But I don't know. I think you could argue both sides. Yeah, that's at one of their houses. You know. All right, Nvidia testing highs again. The problem with Nvidia right now is this double top. This double top looks weak here. Like this looks weak right here. So we got a double top. It doesn't mean we got the volume weighted average price underneath us in the 200 EMA. So we got this range that we could target. It's good to see there's so many jiu-jitsu people in the chat. I guess I talk about it enough. But oh, I watch it every day. Yeah, I mean, if you don't like gi chokes, that's okay. Again, I actually like no gi much more, right? Like a guillotine's my favorite choke, followed by like a darce maybe, you know, followed by like a rear naked choke. But I actually like no gi much more. Like I love trading no gi. Gis are fun, but I get hot. It's hot in those gis, you know. I see a lot of profit taking happening in the first 5 to 15 minutes. Should be an exciting day. Yeah, we'll see. Again, it's a big day, right? We got durable good orders. We got jobless claims numbers. Jobless claims are expected today at 223,000. I should probably put that up on screen. Yeah, so 223K. And durable good orders expected at durable good orders are expected at minus, where are they at? Minus 3%. Yeah. All right, so yeah, so here we go. So I updated it so now you can actually see the jobless claims numbers. Intel, you know, Intel just had this big underwhelming correction. Like we could ask, Intel's back up to 24s though, so Intel is kind of rebounding some here. Let me ask. So I'm asking, why has Intel stock been so weak over the past year? What in their business is falling behind? That's a good question, I think. So why has Intel stock been so weak over the past year? What in their overall business is falling behind? AI says this, okay? AI says Intel stock has been weak over the past year due to several significant challenges. Number one is manufacturing delays. They've fallen behind competitors like Taiwan Semiconductors and AMD and advanced chip production, which has negatively impacted its competitiveness, right? So that's the first thing. It's falling behind to competitors like TSMC and AMD in terms of chip production, which is what Intel is, a chip producer. They have declining financial performance. Their revenue and profitability have dropped big with net income plummeting by over 70% recently, guys, reflecting inefficiencies in operations. We also have AI and PC competition. They have struggled to capitalize on booming AI markets where competitors like Nvidia have taken the lead. And so all these things combined make Intel struggle over the past year, although Intel is bouncing back. They're back up to 24. They basically filled like half of the gap they did on the way down. They gapped down from 30 to 18. They basically come all the way back up 50% of that gap. They're still down big on the year, still down big over the last 3 months. You know, they were over $50 in the beginning of this year. So in the beginning of this year, they were at over $50. They hit as low as 18, and now they're at 24s. So because someone explained Intel, please. So yeah, that's why Intel's down. Yeah, all good. Again, this is why AI is useful. People underestimate the benefit of AI. What I just did shows the use case argument, right? Like, it's useful. Like, you can use AI in a lot of different ways. I can query anything and get, like, the easiest way to explain it is the most obvious benefit, right? Like, if I wanted to figure out the data points regarding Intel's weakness that I just said on the stream, right? If I wanted to figure that out organically, I would have to go to Google, type in Intel, maybe read through their earnings report, read through different articles, look deeper in their financials, you know, and that would take me much longer than just saying, hey, AI, why is Intel weak over the last, year? Give me the data points on why they're weak, and AI will spit that out in an organized, easy to understand way. Very fast, right? The amount of time it would take me to Google all that other stuff would be much longer than it took me to just ask AI it. And so that is the use case argument for AI. And that really is the use case argument for microchips. Is we're going to need them because this is going to become more and more common. People querying data exactly like I just did. Why is the market pumping right now? A few different reasons, Ruma. I'm gonna argue rate cuts. The market's still reacting positively to rate cuts. That's the first argument. But the real reason we're moving overnight, we're moving into jobless claims and GDP. So maybe it's a little bit of a predicting sympathy for that stuff. But I also think MU earnings, again, MU had earnings, microchip stock, it's going to have sympathy movement, and Nvidia and other stuff. Nvidia had a good day yesterday too, leading into it. And so overall, MU and other microchip stocks are up, dragging the rest of the market up. The SPY's breaking lifetime highs, gold's breaking lifetime highs. So yeah, and again, I think a lot of it is leading into maybe Jerome Powell, maybe GDP, maybe jobless claims, but the big one that's pushing up big is MU. MU's up a really big percentage, over 10%. Really, MU looks like it's up over close to right around 20%. Let me see exactly what it's up. It's up from 95 up to 112. So 95 to 112 percentage wise is 18%. Yeah, so Nvidia is following it to a certain extent, but MU's up 18% on their earnings. That's a big percentage. It's dragging everything else up to a certain extent. Yes, but to counter you, once people trust the AI answers, I understand, like, that's always a risk, right? I'll tell you this, though, if it did, people would turn on it very quickly, in my opinion, right? People would turn on it, and again, I talked about this yesterday. The good part about capitalism and competition is that if one of those AI systems starts to become unreliable regarding what I just did, competition breeds innovation. And so I think if one becomes unreliable, people are going to pivot to another one. There's always going to be options to get the most reliable data from them. And so does that mean we're never going to have to switch from one to another? No, but I think competition breeds innovation in that way. I don't usually do this, but I bought an in-the-money call dated on MU last night before earnings. Hey, congrats, Daphne. That's great. That's a great trade. Nice. What is your prediction for GDP? Honestly, I genuinely don't know what GDP is going to show. Genuinely don't know what GDP is going to show up as. Again, this is the second revision. So to put this into perspective, whenever GDP is released, right? Now remember, it's quarter to quarter. Wait, let me make sure that it's 3%. I'm showing a different number, and I want to make sure that that's the number from last time. That's not the expected number today. Yeah, so, okay, so I'm showing 3%. Yeah, so I'm showing 3%. I showed on, Bloomberg showed the last one at 1 point, MarketWatch shows it at 3 last time, which is probably just MarketWatch has it stated a little bit differently, but Bloomberg shows it at 1.4%. But yeah, so 3% GDP is annual. So this is the yearly GDP, the gross domestic market. It's all the sales, basically. All the spending in the country is GDP, right? Like, that's what GDP is. If you want the technical definition for it, it measures the annualized change in the inflation-adjusted value of all goods and services produced by the economy. Basically, it's the value of everything produced here, like the total production numbers of the country. Now, this today is the second revision data, right? The second revision data. So what this means is, like, typically you have 4 different releases. You've got the initial estimate, which is the least accurate. You got the first revision, which is a correction on the original one, which again was the least accurate. So the first revision is an update a little bit more accurately on GDP. So it's updating GDP to be a little bit more accurate. It's first revision. Today is what's called the second revision report. So today they are updating the previous reports. The last one was the first revision. Today's the second revision. So today they are updating. Today they are updating the previous estimate. Again, the last time we showed up at 3%, and that's why I wanted to check 1.4. They must mean 1.4 is last year. But yeah, so GDP is expected at 3%. This is like the second update that they're doing, and yeah. Yeah, so again, you got the advanced initial estimate, you got the second prelim estimate, the third final estimate. We'll see what happens here. So this is the second revision. So this is the final release for the quarter, I think. Let me see. Yeah, so this is going to be the final estimate before. I'm pretty sure. Let me make sure. Okay, so yeah, the third and final estimate is expected to be released on September 26th. So that's today. So yeah, today is the second revision, the final estimate. We also have Powell speaking at 9:20 Eastern Standard Time today. So 10 minutes before the open, Powell speaks. And I'm thinking he's stopping right around the open. So yeah, we got a Powell speech today. There was no recession. You know, again, like, recessions can defined as 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters, guys. The last time we had 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters was years ago. You know, and you better believe people who are really biased, you know, like I said, man, like, look, it's an election year. And so what I hoped is to bring objectivity back to markets, right? Like, a lot of the time, what happens is it's an election year. You know, everybody, and again, I'm not against you. You might hear me say this and think I'm against you. I'm really not. I'm just neutral. And so, again, I'm not against you. I'm not for you. I'm neutral. I don't care about any of the politics stuff. But one of the common movement patterns of markets and economics during election years is that during election years, the side that doesn't have power is going to try to make you think it is the worst it could ever possibly be. Right? This is incredibly consistent every single election year. Right? Doesn't matter who's in power. Doesn't matter who doesn't have power. Their side's trying to make you think it's the worst it could ever be. And on the other side of that, the side that does have power is going to try to make you think it's the greatest it's ever been. You know, neither of those things are true. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Right? And so when you hear people talk about, oh, we're some deep recession, usually they're just doing that to, like, because they're rooting for one side and they want the other side to get elected. And that's fine. I'm not against you. I'm not for you. You know, but we're definitely not in a recession right now. We're just not. You know, the data doesn't show it. The labor market doesn't show it. I'm not saying things are good. You know, when I say this, some people get upset. And I say this every freaking day. But when I say this, some people get upset. You're being too emotional about it, to be honest. Okay, I'm not saying things are good. We do have problems, and the problems, in my opinion, stem from inflation and price increases over the last 5 years, rendering a lot of markets, including real estate, like I said this before, inflation spiked, right? And when inflation spiked, landlords had more expenses because it was more expensive to buy, to fix up things. It was more expensive to buy. Interest rates were high. Landlords had more expenses, and so they passed that on to the tenants, and by raising rent prices. My mom had her rent raised. She talked to me about it. And so people are paying like really high amounts for rent. Super hard to get a mortgage right now. Inflation has gone up a lot over the past 5 years. I'm not saying things are perfect right now because they're not, right? But we're not in a recession either. That's just not something that we're in. Generally the people that are saying we are just kind of parroting political news they hear, with that that again, it's the worst it could ever be. I try to separate myself from that during election years. Generally speaking, on election years, number one, recessions are rare during election years. Number two, generally the market performs very good on election years. That's very consistent, very, very consistent. Even if it's only once every 4 years, you do have a pretty consistently green year during election years. So, yeah. Returns are typically high during election years. I thought it would be the opposite due to fear. Man, it's an election year, brother. Now, after November, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. How do you get over the regret of bad trades? Stop making bad trades. Now, honestly, though, okay. Everybody's going to make bad trades. I certainly make bad trades sometimes. Definitely top 3 worst trader ever right here, But there's some things that you can do to combat that emotion, right? One of them is easy. It's just scale down your size. Trade small. It's a lot easier to accept a small loss than a big loss, right? Number 2 is have discipline. Like condition yourself through repetition like Pavlov and the dog to make the right decisions. And that takes time. It takes repetition. It's one of the reasons, people selling you day trading courses, they're going to act like you can just enter the market and you're going to be some prodigy savant. You're going to be like the dude on Hackers, the movie, where you're just kind of like, everybody's going to be like, dang, look at Steve. Steve's a genius prodigy in the stock market. Look at him. Let him buy. Where's Lambo? But that's probably not happening. And the reason that doesn't happen, especially for new traders, is because it takes time. It takes repetition. To do right things, you got to do wrong things first. And to even know what's right or wrong, you have to experience it. You got to get your reps in. You got to do it over and over and over and over and over again until it becomes easier to do the right things. Right? It's like Pavlov. And so take time. And when you get those repetitions in, trade small. With that in mind, with the logic of, hey, you're going to have to take a bunch of trades in the beginning to get experience. Does it make sense to trade very large during that phase? Of course not. It makes absolutely no sense to trade large. You leaving? Okay. All right, guys. Sorry. My daughter's leaving for school. Losing trades is the biggest motivation to learning more. I agree. Nah, screw Steve. Steve the enemy, huh? I see. I get it. Don't you talk about Steve like that, bro. Listen. All right. Nvidia at 126. We'll see what happens. Yeah, 2-year bear markets can happen. Regret is unprofessional. Saying world is not recession. Nobody's saying the world is not in a recession. I didn't know we were talking about the world here. I thought we were talking about the United States. I don't know what the world's doing. Really, all of it. I mean, I know what some of the world's doing, but of course we're not looking at the world as the standard for recession. If that was the case, we got a lot bigger problems, you know? Like, there's a lot of countries across the world that are in shambles right now. It doesn't mean we are, you know? That would be like if, it just, no. We're talking about the United States here. The U.S. isn't in a recession. It's just objectively not in a recession. The technical definition, 2 losing GDP quarters. You know, here's the ironic part, is that 2 years ago, people are like, oh, they changed the definition. They changed the definition, you know? Like, they like looking at the technical definition 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when we might have been in a little mini recession. But when today I'm like, hey, we're not in what's defined as a technical recession right now, then they're ignoring the technical definition of it. So it's kind of pick and choose here, right? Like, again, it's an election year. I'm just going to take it with that context in mind. Anyways, Nvidia pulling back down. It's almost at the 200 EMA. We're at 126. Yeah, I just don't like Baba. I have a hard time taking profit. In theory, if you're investing, and again, I'm going to preface this with, look, I have no freaking idea, right? Like, I have no idea what any stock, I'm definitely not telling you to do anything. I'm one of the top 3 worst traders ever. Okay, I do trade off stream. You're not going to see all my trades. I'm not an investment professional. Understand CFTC 4.41. Do not copy me. I have no idea what I am talking about. All right. Now, with that said and out the way, in theory, if you're investing, you're supposed to hold forever, right? In theory, you're supposed to buy blue chip, healthy companies, and really, like, if you want to get around a lot of volatility, just buy index funds, right? Buy the S&P. I'm not telling you to buy it, but you can buy the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, and in theory, sit on those index funds forever, right? And they will provide long-term wealth, generational wealth, if you do, right? The real issue is most people don't have the patience and the discipline to do that. Most people get, like, they make 50% and then they sell, you know, when really if they would hold, they would make thousands of percent over time. And so in theory, if you're investing, you should hold forever. You know, you should never sell, you know, hand it on to your children, let them hold it. You know, they'll probably sell it because they don't have the emotional attachment to it that you do, but it's okay. You know, point is, you should hold it for at least a generation. I think people are still traumatized from '08. Yeah, that might be true. I think people are just scared, right? And again, I say this all the time. Like, telling you to never sell is not something in which I think is universal. You know, I think if you're imminently going to retire in a couple years, there's a risk. You know, honestly, to be completely honest, if I was retiring in a year or two, I would probably sell right now and sell all of my stuff and then cash out right now. Why? Because we're breaking lifetime highs over and over again. You know, is that sustainable? No. And again, long term, the market's going to go up. Long term, again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not a retirement professional. Okay, I'm not liable if you lose money because, again, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But again, if I was retiring soon, I would probably liquidate because we're breaking lifetime highs. The risk that we correct and then I get stuck holding like a big losing position is high. You know, now I don't know if we're going to correct, but generally it's not sustainable for us to continue to break lifetime highs over and over and over again. It's just not, you know. So, but if you're retiring in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you know, it makes no sense to sell, even if we do crash tomorrow. That disclaimer screens, unsubscribe, and liability. What? Yo no sé. My dad is 1 year from retirement. Yeah, I mean, if you're 1 year from retirement, like I said, if it was me, I would probably liquidate. Because we don't, at the same time, like, look, I'll give you some potential outcomes. At the same time, we are lowering rates now. So we did a 50 basis point cut last Wednesday. Rates are going down. Now, you could see two different paths for that. You could see, hey, rates are going to be lower, interest rates are going to be cheap, people are going to have cheaper access to leverage in money, and so maybe we actually get a bull market. It's arguable, right? And you could also argue real estate prices might go up in theory because interest rates are going down, and if interest rates go down, more people buy homes. When more people buy homes, prices go up generally. And so that could be a scenario, especially like rate cuts typically have a lag. By next summer, we could get a bull market in real estate. I'm not saying we do, but it's possible. And so again, I certainly don't want to tell anybody to do anything. You got to make your own judgment there. I could certainly be wrong, and there's different paths that could happen that contradict each other. And so just be smart, figure out what you want to do. If you really want to be risk averse, take some off, but leave some, I don't know. You might have deleted it, but I see it forever. I see Palantir going over 100. Yeah, honestly, Palantir is one of those stocks that have just done really, really well. Almost up to $40 a share. I remember buying this thing at 19s. To be honest, I sold a little bit of it, or I sold it, but I'll probably buy it again at some point. Is it a good time to start DCAing into the S&P 500 at lifetime highs? I mean, number one, I don't think any time's a bad time to start DCAing long term into the index funds. Right, and I think the biggest mistake a lot of people make is that they sit waiting for a crash to happen and they miss out on huge gains. So like an example is this. Say the S&P 500 here. I'll put the SPY up. Say you want to start investing in the S&P 500, right? But we've pushed up so much. Like here, say we're right here, right? You want to start investing in the S&P 500, but you wait because you're just waiting for a market crash instead of just jumping in like you should. And then the S&P 500 does this, and you miss out on it because you're sitting around waiting for a crash to happen. That's the biggest mistake most long-term investors make. And the way to get around that is just by dollar cost averaging into it. At the same time, I think we're also pretty extended on the upside. We've been breaking lifetime highs over and over again for a year straight. That's generally not my favorite time to buy up stuff. But again, if you're buying up long-term, it shouldn't matter. And so I'm not telling you what to do. I have no idea what you should do. We might crash tomorrow. But there's some context for everything, I think. Nvidia pushing back up, guys, so it is starting to bounce up right around that 200 EMA at 126. Yeah, we're going to look at Tesla, gold, all this stuff. We still got 15 minutes or so before this data comes out. Let's look at the NASDAQ. Because the NASDAQ's a little farther away from lifetime highs, though. So the NASDAQ is at 485s. So we still got to get over 500 for that to break lifetime highs. So it's still got a ways. It's close. It's at 490s. Lifetime highs of what? The SPY, gold. I trade SPY daily and don't see it shedding 10 points. Just wondering what you're seeing. People are greedy as your reason. I'm not saying the SPY is going to shed 10 points. I have no freaking idea what it does. I really don't. I have no idea. I know we're up a lot. Corrections happen. But it doesn't mean anything, and the biggest edge is long-term on the upside, to be honest. Biggest edge is upside long-term for sure. S&P 500, NASDAQ, Dow will give you about 10%, 8%, 9% a year on average, which means that on good years, it's going to do much better than 8, 9, 10% to correct for the bad years that happen. It's averaging 10% a year, meaning like in theory, if you hold it, you're going to make money. But you never know. And again, we'll wait and see. What's up, Yair? Yeah, that's probably true, Daphne. Real estate softening. It's been softening, though. Oh, yeah, so we're about to close on a property. So the option period is done. We're closing. So that's good. So we got our property. Again, we bought a property that was about 20% under list. And my strategy with buying real estate, because I understand like the real estate market might correct, right? I understand that. But long term, similar to the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, long term, you're going to make money in real estate most of the time, at least. As long as you don't buy it in an area that's obviously like turning. But most of the time you're going to make money. But we put an offer in a property, 20% under list price. And our strategy was simple. Interest rates are high. I use that knowledge of interest rates being high to put in a bunch of low ball offers with cash. And, you know, again, we probably put in 4 or 5 offers prior to this one, and we finally got them to accept one. And then we also got a price reduction because we're going to renovate the kitchen anyway. And so we got a price reduction as well, so it's actually even cheaper. And again, that's good because, again, I have no delusions here about real estate always going up nonstop. And so I understand we might correct a little bit in properties. But we already got it 20% under list. You know, we got a good deal on it, and over time, it's going to make money. Yeah, so jobless claims are expected, again, chat, at 224,000, 224K. We also have Jerome Powell, Big Papa, speaking out today. A jobless claim quiz. AI to the rescue. AI to the rescue, sir. I got you. A jobless claims quiz. What is a jobless claim? Okay, is it A, a request for government benefits from an employed person? B, a request for government benefit after losing a job? C, a request for a pay raise at work? Or D, a request for a new job position? What is it, guys? Listen, I'm waiting for y'all's answer here. All right, what is it? Again, A, request for government benefits from an employed person. B, a request for government benefits after losing a job. C, a request for a pay raise at work. D, a request for a new job position. Okay, listen. All of y'all are wrong except for Ace. Ace got it right. The answer is B, a request for government benefits after losing a job. It's unemployment filings, guys. This is filing for unemployment. Jobless claims are filed by individuals who have recently lost their jobs and are seeking unemployment benefits. All right. Which government agency in the U.S. reports weekly jobless claims? Chat. AI spit out one, too. It gave me a quiz. Which government agency reports jobless claims weekly? A, the Fed. B, the Bureau of Economic Analysis. C, the Department of Labor. Or D, the Census Bureau. All right, guys, we got 10 minutes. Yeah. Okay, looks like you guys got it. It's C. The answer is C, the Department of Labor. The U.S. Department of Labor is responsible for reporting weekly jobless claims numbers. All right, last one. Last one. And this one's actually kind of useful, so stick around. Don't get mad. What are initial jobless claims? A, the total number of people receiving unemployment benefits. B, the first-time filings for unemployment benefits. C, the number of people who got hired after losing their job. Or D, the percentage of unemployed workers. This is the last one. Again, A, the total number of people receiving unemployment benefits. B, the first-time filings for unemployment benefits. C, the number of people who got hired after losing their job. Or D, the percentage of unemployed workers. The answer is B, which is, again, the first-time filing. So, again, if you hear initial jobless claims, it's first-time filings. Initial jobless claims measures how many people have applied for unemployment benefits for the first time in a given week. What is considered a normal level for jobless claims? We're just going to go through the quiz without asking you guys because that takes too long. So what's considered a normal level is around 200,000 to 250,000 claims. Right, so this is actually kind of useful stuff. Today they are expecting for jobless claims 224K, which is, again, right around that normal spot between 200K and 250K. In a stable economy, weekly jobless claims typically hover around 200 to 250,000. Hey, what's up, Ross? Hey, welcome, man. L? That's the only right answer, Victor. Look at me, man. I'm just like a teacher over here. I could never be a teacher. I don't have enough patience. My mom was a teacher, you know. I would never be a teacher ever. You know, shout out to my teachers. That's a hard job. And again, I'm not saying, I'm not appreciating you all. I appreciate the teachers out there. I had some good ones that really guided me in life, for sure. But incredibly difficult job. I would never do it. I don't have enough patience. You know, I would end up tripping out on the kid. I know, I meant jobless claim poll, I know, but GDP is the bigger release, and so we're going to leave that up. We got 50-50, though. Or no, we got 50% think GDP comes in higher, 37% think come in lower, 13% said I don't know, see results. Now, remember, guys, so GDP data, higher is better, lower is worse. And so if we do come in higher for GDP, it'll probably push markets back up. Again, the Q's pushing up towards highs again. Gold is sitting right around lifetime highs. Now, remember, the SPY lifetime highs are here. It doesn't actually register for highs until it hits it after the market open. So as long as we open up around where we are now, the SPY will be breaking lifetime highs at the open. But if we correct back down, it might not. So we'll see. I think it'll stay, but who knows? Yeah, we do have a lot of economic data. We also have durable good orders, which is kind of like cars, computers, things that last a long time, like long-lasting manufactured goods is what durable good orders are. That's expected to show up month-over-month percentage for August at minus 2.8 to 3%. Minus 2.8 to 3%. And so that shows up today. So we do have a bunch of economic reports. And then we also have Powell speaking. And then we also have got a bunch of Fed speakers coming out today speaking. We have, just to put it into perspective, we've got Fed Collins. We've got Michelle Bowman speaking. We've got Powell, obviously. We got Williams. We've got Lagarde for the ECB speaking. We've got Governor Cook speaking, Vice Chair for Supervision Barr speaking. A 7-year note auction. Also some short-term bond auctions happening. So we got FOMC member Kashkari speaking. We've got Cook speaking again. So yeah, we've got like 5 or 6 different Fed speakers outside of Powell. So again, it'll be a fun day for sure. It'll be a fun day. I'm gonna throw this in sub-only mode. If you haven't already, guys, subscribe. Listen, the reason we get over 1,000 people here for this report is because we cover it very quickly relative to everybody else, and we're reliable. If you want somebody that you know is going to be streaming during big economic reports, we also trade live at the open every day. We're investors. We swing trade. If you want somebody that's reliable that you know is going to cover everything, Powell speeches, FOMC meetings, CPI, PPI, earnings reports, all that good stuff, we cover it all. Super up to date in real time. And so hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. Again, a lot of stuff coming out today, to be honest, at 8:30 especially. So I'm surprised we don't have more choppy action leading into this report. We got exactly 4 minutes. Only got to trust here. Hey, thanks so much. I see some people still answering polls. You want to hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on stream. Why is markets not following technicals? Because technicals don't influence the market like that. Like, again, I'll say this once. I'll say it again. And again, I repeat myself so people can really digest what I'm saying. But fundamentals are more powerful than technicals, with maybe the only exception being extension, right? So you got technical traders that look at technicals, but they don't understand economic reports. And so at 8:30 on CPI day, if CPI comes in low, the market's usually going to go up. It's low inflation. You know, they'll try to justify it by saying you've got some crazy, 23 over 72 moving average crossover, and they're going to act like that's what caused the move, when most of the time it's just a fundamental economic release, right? So technicals can work, but if you got a big fundamental economic report coming out simultaneously, the market's going to usually move with the fundamental, not the technical. And so you got to take every technical with understanding of, like, if fundamental economic data comes out, it's going to be a bigger influence. And so I guess the overarching point, and the only exception in my opinion is extension. If we're really, really down big or really, really up big, economic data means less, and we're going to have it more weighted towards the extended side, or against the extended side, I should say. But anyways, we got 2.5 minutes, chat, 2.5 minutes. We got about 1,300 people here. Again, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. We're going to keep growing. Also, guys, if you haven't already, check out Top Step. We're going to be live day trading on Top Step at the opening bell. Again, Top Step gives you a demo. Almost all day traders lose. I don't care who you follow, what course you take. Almost all day traders lose because it takes time. The easiest way to learn is on Top Step because they give you a demo. The base one's $50K. It's only $49 a month. If you can make $3K in profit without losing $2K, they fund you $50K with a 90% split. So it's similar to putting the money up yourself in that regard at 90% split. But if you lose, you're only out $49. It limits that risk you take in the beginning. Instead of risking thousands and losing thousands, you're going to lose much less generally on Top Step. And if you're good enough to pass it, you still got a 90% split. They pay out millions. They paid out over $40 million to their traders, fund thousands a year. Great way to learn how to day trade. And again, they are an affiliate of mine. They are a sponsor of mine, so I'm biased for sure. But I think in general, it's just a good way to do it. And on Top Step X, it's the biggest edge in funding because there's no commissions, only a small amount of fees per trade. And that's a huge edge, a huge edge. If you want to check them out, there's the link. We got 1 minute left, guys. 1 minute left. A lot of people who cover it don't go over the report. They just say the numbers. A lot of them don't actually understand what they're covering, Velo. A lot of them don't. Like I said, a lot of YouTubers called every rate decision a rate hike, and that comes from a fundamental misunderstanding about what it all means. A rate hike is raising rates, and so a lot of them are just covering it because it's popular, and we helped popularize it for sure here. But they don't actually understand it. Like I love the economics. Like that's like my favorite thing over everything else, over day trading, over everything else. I love economics. Yes, Jeffrey, it is. A ballet dance school? That's definitely what it is. All right, guys, we got 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Thanks so much for the donation, brother. I appreciate it. All right, guys, 15 seconds. GDP expected at 3%. Jobless claims expected at 224K. This is a little bit early. We still got 5 seconds left. 5 seconds. All right, guys, here we go. And that's the report. Let's see what it shows. Waiting. Durable good orders showed up at 0%. 0% for durable good orders. GDP showed up neutral at 3%. 3%. 3% GDP. Neutral durable good orders where they expected a negative, which is good. And jobless claims showed up lower than expected. All of this stuff signals economic strength, and the market's moving up a little bit. Most of this stuff signals economic strength. Again, jobless claims showed up at 218 versus 224. GDP showed up at 3% versus 3%. Durable good orders showed up at a positive. Core durable goods showed up at 0.5% versus 0.1% expected. Regular durable goods showed up at 0% versus negative 3% expected. So all of this stuff mostly signals economic strength. It doesn't mean the market's going to push up, though. Sometimes the first move is the wrong move, and so let's wait to see the market's reaction. But again, so far so good. We have showed what was expected for GDP, and this is the final GDP reading. So again, we showed up at 3% versus 3% expected. So GDP for the year has showed up at 3%. We'll put that up on screen. Again, we also have durable good orders that showed up at 0% versus minus 2.5 to 3% expected. So again, we're going to put all this stuff up. Jobless claims showed up lower than expected, which means what? It means less people filing for unemployment. So less people filing for unemployment than expected. That's good, obviously, for the economy. And again, here is all of these reports right here. So all of this report. So far, the market has downwardly reacted, and we might actually day trade this a little bit here. Let me try. Again, how we're going to day trade this? I might buy the dip. Yeah, so we're up $50. We bought 2 contracts in a challenge account. We're going to take half of that off there, lock it in. Boom. So we just made about 160 in this challenge account. Nice. So far so good. Again, I kind of want to buy one more contract and let a longer term play out here. All right, so we bought 1. It's a little risky to buy it right after the report, but that's all right. All right, so we lost a little bit here, actually, even though we were green, but just a bad fill. $70, $100. We'll go ahead and cut that there. So we just made another $100 or so. Again, the economic data showed good, and sometimes the worst move is the wrong move. I'm not saying we get a move up, but I think that's one of the easier ways to attack. We also have a lot of big levels underneath us, and I didn't see anything in these reports that showed negativity in economic stuff. So I'm kind of betting on a little retracement And again, here you can kind of see on Top Step X, the biggest edge in funding right now. $2.80 in fees, 0 commissions. And so I can trade very small, take these little scalps, make money, and have almost no fees. So if you want to check out the, again, Top Step, look at the description. Hey, thank you so much, Melody. I appreciate it. What? My company just laid a few thousand, folks. Well, yeah, I mean, look, everybody always tends to, like, they take a generalized statement and they make it very zoomed into their specific examples, right? There's always outliers. Like, some places are weak, obviously, because any moment in time in economics, some sectors are weak, right? It doesn't mean the entire market is weak. So look at this. I mean, we called this, did we not? We started buying that dip. We made money on it. Look at this big rebound here. So, you know, sometimes this can be predictable, which is what you guys saw here. Like, we're able to predict this because it's consistently shown a lot of the time in these economic reports. All right, guys, remember, stick around. We do have Powell speaking. Powell speaks at 9:20, market time, 9:20. So be ready. Again, do me a favor, subscribe if you haven't yet, chat. We appreciate it. Hey, baby. Yeah, I brought him in there over there. All right, guys. So we got Fed Jerome Powell speaking at, again, 9:20 a.m. Market bounced back a little bit. We were absolutely correct about that. It still hasn't broken highs, though. Yeah. What? They're both over there. It should be wrapped in blue. Look, there it is right there. Oh, well, that's what I thought it was. I didn't see it out there. All right, guys. So again, we are going to be covering Powell speaking. Again, GDP data is out. So yeah, Powell speaks live at 9:20. 9:20 market time, and we will stream the entire thing. All right, so again, we're kind of flat after this report. All right. Does my wife ever come on the stream? Sometimes she'll show up. Just depends. It's early here in Texas. It's only 7:30 market time, so like it's still pretty early. Hey, did you get it? Yeah, so we do have Powell speaking. All right. So yeah, we do have Powell speaking up. Let's see what else we got. Waiting for the feds. No, I'm in Houston area. Teller chat says hi. Yeah, all right. I mean, I'll tell her. She's gonna be like, hi. Yeah, look, I'll tell her. Look at Tesla breaking highs. Tesla breaking highs. Just don't be weird about it, okay? Like, people get strange, right? Like, I've told you guys about the weird neighbor that we had, right? It's a completely different story. I'll tell the story, but, like, we had a neighbor, right? And it kind of goes to show, like, women, you just got to be careful. Because, like, we had this neighbor, right? And he lived across the street. And so my wife would, like, communicate with all our neighbors to kind of, like, if we were gone and they needed trash cans and we needed our trash cans pulled in, they would do it. Or because we had a couple really nice neighbors. We had this Puerto Rican dude who used to always make us really, really good food and give us good food. Super nice. Like, sometimes his daughter would bring our kids to school. So we had, like, a little neighborhood family going thing. Well, one of these dudes was, like, this old man. Kind of looked like Santa Claus. His name was Scott. This dude, you know, he started being nice to us, but there was always something a little off about him, right? And so he would start, like, and so Carol had all their numbers, and one day she comes to me and she's like, "Hey, baby, does this text message look a little off, a little strange, right?" And so I read it, and, like, the text message, like, it wasn't blatant, but it was definitely like you could tell he was trying to be inappropriate, but it was, like, plausibly deniable. To where, like, if I called him out on it, he'd be like, "Whoa, like, what are you talking about, bro?" But she also sent it to her dad and was like, "Hey, Dad, does this look weird?" And, like, her dad was like, "Yeah, it's kind of weird." So immediately when we see that, right, we start to say, all right, well, like, let's just, like, stay away from this. This is, like, weird. You know, like, let's just avoid this guy. And so the more we avoided him, the weirder he got. Right, to where you could tell he got kind of, like, obsessive, right, and just strange, right? Started stalking us a little bit. Like, we would leave, and yeah, he would start stalking. You know, Carol would call me because she would go to the store, and she saw him at the store, and she would get freaked out. So it got to the point where I had to basically be like, "Yo, like, stay away from us, like, stay away from us." But it got to be really strange, like, really strange. Very uncomfortable. Eventually we moved away. But yeah, it was just off, man. Just strange dude. And so Carol can come on stream. I like her coming on stream if she wants to, but it's completely up to her. And you can't really blame her if she doesn't want to, because people can get weird, man. Yeah, I could have. I mean, this was like a little guy, right? Like, this is a little guy. He looks like Santa Claus, right? Like, you know. Hide your kids, hide your wife. Yeah, that's what we felt like. The guy from Home Alone. Yeah, he was shorter like that, you know. Again, I'm not judging how he looked, but, like, come on now, you know. Like, it really goes to show, like, look, if you're 70 years old and, like, the pretty 20-something year old in your neighborhood is being nice to you, it's probably not because you're interested. She's just being nice to the older person, right? Like, in the South, we're raised to respect your elders, right? And so we're just being nice, you know? It doesn't mean, I mean, you know? Right, for sure, RJ. That's why when I hear somebody being, like, talking about my wife too much, I'm like, is that him? You know? Again, which is kind of like, it breeds unhealthiness. Like, I hope it's not. I'm sure she understands this channel provides. Yeah, 100%. People start to feel like they know you when you're in the public eye. Yeah, 100%. And it's fine. And I appreciate you guys. Like I said, you guys are my 1,200 internet friends here. All right, so cheers to you guys. I appreciate you all, you know. Cheers to you. I appreciate the love. But yeah. No, it's all good hidden in the wires. I'm just messing with you, bro. You're good, dude. You should have armbarred him. Flying armbar, you know. Oh, he's definitely stalking her. Yeah, so unemployment filing showed up at 218,000 versus 225 expected. Hey, thank you, Victor. I appreciate it. The speech is at 9:20. I'll put a timer up. But yeah, like, honestly, at first I was like, let me fight this guy, like, talking about, like, Scott, you know. And we had one neighbor. We affectionately referred to him as the judge. right? We had nicknames. We had Barbie and Ken. They lived next to us on the left. We had the judge and man, I can't remember what we called his wife. They were super nice people. They would like dress up as Santa during the holidays when our kids was young. Super nice people, right? Scott was the only weirdo on the street. And like, honestly, all of the neighbors felt the same way, right? Like all the other neighbors disliked Scott. They thought he was weird, you know, strange. He drank a lot. Like he's just kind of off, you know? And you know what did it? Like what caused it? I think what started it was what started it was like we had this trip that we took where the airline like this is a different story. I've said this story before. I'll say it again because it's kind of funny. But anyways, look at the market. Market's back up. Tesla broke highs, got up to 262. Gold's still pushing back. Nvidia's trying to push up. Here's the SPY. SPY at 574s. We're kind of in this choppy range, and so I want to identify this before I show the video. But we are kind of in this up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down range. I don't know if the market's waiting for Powell to speak. Maybe that's what's driving it to be sideways. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's what's driving it to be sideways or not, but it's sideways. What mansion, Martin? Every street has one weirdo? Definitely. Yeah, you know, here's how weird Scott was, right? Scott literally looked just like Santa Claus. But every Christmas, instead of getting him to dress up like Santa, we got the other guy who was like 140 pounds. He's like 6 foot, 140 pounds, right? And so even though Scott looked exactly like Santa Claus, he still lost that job. Like, we still didn't want him to be Santa Claus. We rather the dude that was like 6 foot and 140, 150 pounds. We wanted him to be Santa instead, just because we didn't trust Scott. You know, and he looked exactly like Santa. A little small, a little short for Santa, but hey. What started it was this right here. So again, look, there's me. We're still in that sideways range. Basically, I'm afraid to death of flying. I hate flying. I do not like heights. Every time I go on a plane, I'm nervous. And I have to sit there and like, you know, panic secretly inside every time I'm on a plane. So leading up to this, we were going to New Orleans. Leading up to this, my wife's like, hey, you're tripping out for no reason. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be normal. You know, you're going to get on the plane and you're going to feel dumb for worrying so much about it. You know, so I'm like, okay, cool. We get on the plane. Problems happen. Oxygen masks drop down. You know, we get turbulence. Oxygen masks drop. And I'm sitting there staring at Carol in this moment. Like, what have you done? You told me everything was going to be fine. And now we're dealing with this. We actually had the news come out to our house. Like, Carol talked to the news. And I think this is what started Scott's obsession. Look, there's me. I'm mad. I'm like, don't film me. The oxygen masks are down. You know? Like, it was a mess. Absolute mess, man. I'm still bummed out about it. And then Carol spoke somewhere on here. Let me see if I can find it. ZZ Top. Kind of. Bad Santa. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Tesla's still moving up. Let's see if it holds. Yeah, you can even see me on this thing. Like, look at me. I am not happy here. Just not happy about it. You know? I looked at Carol like, how dare you? You know? But yeah, Scott watched this video of my wife, Carol. And like, I think he kind of started getting a little weird after he saw this video, you know. Let's see if I can find the audio from it.
Everyone kind of was stunned, and they booked it back to the back of the plane, and we didn't hear anything else. I guess they sat down, but We didn't hear an announcement or anything like that. Everyone was just kind of looking around, wondering what to do.
London.
Yeah, she didn't talk about how her husband was secretly freaking out and how she told her husband everything would be fine. I'm still mad about it, kind of. I've flown multiple times since then, but still. I'm still not happy about it. Spirit Airlines. It wasn't. It was United. Again, the SPY at 575. So if the SPY opens up anywhere close to here, it's breaking lifetime highs. Now, we still got a little time before Powell speaks. Yeah, for sure. You know, can't be nice to anybody nowadays. Yes. Or no, Scott had a wife. You know, I don't want to get too much into it, but I never saw her. Carol and I never saw her ever. You know, he wanted that Santa job. Yeah, he did. It's like the Office episode, you know. Anyways, Tesla's still looking pretty strong on this report. Look at Tesla. Gold's still not really breaking lifetime highs. Again, Tesla at 262s. Sorry, Pawn, if you're messaging me, I can't see it. Let me find it. Yeah, I'll have to go check. Stock's looking good. I think being nice is a net positive, but you do attract weirdos who get the wrong ideas. 100%, yeah, for sure. Especially like for the ladies. I think, like I get it, but yeah, it's just kind of. All right, guys, Nvidia at right around lifetime highs. Or not, I'm sorry, not lifetime highs. Nvidia right around highs of the day. We still got Powell speaking in 20 minutes, chat. 20 minutes. Lifetime, no. Lifetime highs on Nvidia are about 140. Remember though, lifetime highs only are credited after 9:30, after market open. That's when lifetime highs are credited. If it's not lifetime high, if it's not then they don't credit actually. So we have to wait to see if they actually break lifetime highs until the open. Which unless we completely come back down. You know. So unless we completely come back down. Yeah, so again, we're back up there. Nvidia bounced right off of that volume weighted average price level. Okay, gotcha. Dude, I'm a 2-stripe white belt, Jesse. I'm definitely not a black belt. Honestly, I feel like I'm blue belt level, but I don't mind kind of sandbagging a little bit and you know. sometimes you'll roll against people who are just completely full of crap, though, right? Like I went to train one day, and you know, you see this kid, and every time you roll against a white belt, especially a no stripe white belt, you're like, hey, how much experience do you have? You know, like, hey, are you brand new? Basically, like, can I beat you up? You know, like, am I allowed to beat you up? Because if you're brand new, I'm not really allowed to beat you up, right? But if you're brand new, I got to be really easy and nice about it, right? But if you have some experience, right, if you've been training for at least a month or two, then that's the green light to beat you up. But sometimes you'll roll against people and you're like, hey, how new are you? Is what you ask, you know? And sometimes they'll be like, hey, this is my first or second class ever. And you're like, okay, cool, I got to be nice. And then they start freaking, like, knee barring you out of nowhere. And you're like, hey, dude, I thought you were brand new. They just lie about it. That happens a lot. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm brand new. This is my second day. And then they just start freaking flying arm barring you. And you're like, what's going on? That actually happens a lot. All right, chat, we got 16 minutes. 60 minutes. I'm looking at my Nvidia indicators. They've been pretty accurate. Yeah, I'm just saying that, Chef, because I really do want a blue belt, and I'm mad about it. Honestly, my friend JB got 4 stripes yesterday. My friend JB went from no stripes to 4 stripes, you know, in yesterday's class. I'm happy for him, but I'm kind of mad about it, too, because he started 2 months ago. He rolled with the coach, and the coach just gave him 4 stripes. He's about to get his blue belt now. I'm kind of mad about it. I'm not mad. I'm happy for him. Like, he honestly is a great dude, right? He's from South Korea. Doesn't speak English super well, but just a great guy, man. Just a really nice guy. Super humble. Much more humble than me. Maybe that's why he's getting. All right, chat. 15 minutes. Let me put a timer up so people know. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We got 20 minutes. 25 minutes, actually. I'm sorry. It's at 9:20. So we have 25 minutes, actually. So we got, 24 and a half minutes. Here's the timer. You want us to talk to your coach for you? Yeah, I mean, you know, you just be like, John's the top 3 greatest white belt of all time. It's time to, you know, rank him up. I think it's time. I mean, really, like I said, I beat most white belts I train against. So, on a serious note, I think it's time. But, again, what happened is I trained under one coach for like 8 months. Got pretty good under him. And then he left the gym, and we got a brand new coach that, you know, has only seen me train for like a couple months. So, it's just different. Which is fine. Again, I really don't mind being a white belt. I genuinely don't, because I would rather, if you get a blue belt, there's a lot of pressure. Like, you're gonna have to live up to that standard, and that's a different thing, you know. Tesla just broke highs again, though, Chad. Look at Tesla up to 262.20s, up there. Yeah. What if you just order one online? You'll get beat up. Like, listen, there's definitely people that I've met and that a lot of people have met that go to the gym with one belt, and then when you roll against them, you know they're not that belt, you know, but you don't really say anything. It's ambiguous to a certain extent, just because, like, different coaches are good. Like, different coaches have different degrees of teaching ability. So, and people have different athleticism. You know, so like some people are super athletic and can come in and beat most people in 6 months, and then other people can train for 3 years and still lose to like somebody that's just been training for a month or two based off of purely athleticism. So belts don't mean everything. Kung Fu. Kung Fu is a useless martial art for the most part. No offense. It's better than Aikido, though. Do you have a nickname? No, not really. Spazzy, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, Powell speech 10 minutes before the open. It should be fun. Again, we'll see. Yeah, I definitely know some coaches, but that's not me. I don't really compete. listen, I'm in my 30s. Like, I'm not gonna go. I would maybe compete in Masters tournaments. If you don't know what Masters means, like, I can go compete against other 30-something-year-olds, white belts. Because if I go into a tournament, like just like a white belt tournament, number one, I'm gonna get like the people who win those tournaments are like judo black belts. You know, they're like judo, sambo black belts, like all this stuff, and they're really good, and you get thrown around. They're monsters. So. Do you eat kimchi? My wife does. And honestly, that stuff will make, your breath. Whew. But it's apparently really good. I drink kombucha. So I'll drink kombucha. I've had a little bit of kimchi before. It's good, it's healthy for you, for sure. But we eat it. We eat it in my family. Although I'm not the biggest consumer of it. So, I mean, it's good for you, though. I'm more of a kombucha person. I also drink kefir a little bit, like a little bit of kefir. All right, Tesla at 262.40s. Pre-market jiu-jitsu talk, love it. Yeah, I probably talk about jiu-jitsu too much. All right, well, gotta have to change the song. I didn't hate the song, honestly. It's just I try to not have any text or any speech. Yeah, Powell speaking again in 20 minutes. George Foreman challenged Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal, man. Aikido, again, is like the pyramid scheme of martial arts, right? Like, you ever met somebody in a pyramid scheme and they try to sell you on it and you tell them the truth and you're like, yo, this is a pyramid scheme. Like, you're getting ripped off here. And it hurts so much for them to look at it objectively. They have all these delusions of grandeur that they get mad at you just for trying to talk you out of it. Just for trying to talk them out of it. They've been literally trained to, if you've been trained to argue against people who try to talk you out of it, like I said, Aikido's the same way. Aikido, virtually useless. Even the stuff they do teach you that's useful, you don't need to train it to learn it. Like, oh, poke somebody in the eye? Duh. Like, you don't need to go to class to learn how to do that. And the stuff that you do learn is useless, right? You've seen it time and time again. You see somebody with Aikido go versus any other martial arts skill, really, especially grappling martial arts, and they're getting thrown around, right? Like, they're getting thrown around. And I think that's probably why Steven Seagal targeted it, because it needed the least amount of athleticism to do it. And, basically they were so enamored by his star power, from all his cheesy 80s and 90s movies that they just kind of ranked him up real quick. But again, people train it their whole life. They train Aikido their whole life. And they think they're doing something. And so when you try to tell them, hey, you're wasting all of your time learning a useless martial art that doesn't do anything, they get mad at you for it, right? Like, they get mad at you for trying to help them because they're so, like, it hurts so much to try to look at that objectively and be like, hey, Aikido's a waste of time, And again, maybe I'm wrong, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be. Maybe I'm just arrogant here. That's possible. I would never send my kids in Aikido. If I send my kids in martial art, I'm sending them in Muay Thai, boxing, or BJJ, or wrestling. Those four. Wrestling, BJJ, Muay Thai, boxing. Yeah, Kung Fu has some use case, but it's definitely not the highest. The best martial arts, again, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai, followed by probably judo. Judo's in there. Again, judo's definitely good. The good thing about judo is, like, if you throw somebody on cement, they're not getting up. Same thing with Muay Thai and, like, leg kicks. You hit somebody really well in the leg a couple times, they don't want to fight you anymore. So, like, there's some use case. All right, guys, I'm gonna move on from martial arts. I really will sit here and talk about this all day, but we got a market to cover. I'm sorry. Culture, an interesting topic. Yeah. Yeah, I loved the Karate Kid as a kid. I really did. It was like my family loves Cobra Kai. We haven't finished the 6th season, so don't ruin it. But all right, guys, SPY up there at 470 or 574s. MU up almost 20%. MU's helping the market go up today for sure, right? So people are asking why the market is up so much. It's mostly because the MU microchip stock has a lot of sympathy. It's up 20%, 18, 19. Oh, it's up 20% now. It's at 113s, broke highs again too. It's what's dragging the rest of the market up. And again, the economic data today showed economic strength. I would say as a net positive economic strength. GDP was as expected. Durable good orders came out more positive than expected. Jobless claims came out lower than expected. So unemployment was lower. Durable good numbers were higher. GDP was as expected, and it was the final number. So 3% is what we showed. So it's good. Hey, good morning. What are your thoughts? Yeah, tell me the market isn't overextended. I'm new. Why are you looking at Nvidia, Tesla? I don't know. I'm just looking at blue chips. Nvidia, Tesla, MU, gold, S&P 500, NASDAQ is what I'm usually watching here. Soccer is useless. Well, I don't know. I would argue soccer is more beneficial for street fighting than Aikido is, personally. Maybe I should do a poll. What's better for martial arts? Soccer or Aikido? I feel like soccer would probably win. You ever seen Jose Aldo? You know. All right, guys. Tesla broke highs again. Tesla just hit highs of 262.59. MU's testing highs right now. Just broke it again. Hit highs of 113.10s. Testing it right now at 113.15. MU breaking highs again. Dragging the SPY up with us. Here, chat. Remember, we do have Jerome Powell speaking very soon. So we do have Powell speaking soon. We got 1,000 people here still. We got so many Fed speakers here today, to be honest. Sorry, I was trying to make sure. I heard my dogs barking. It was my neighbors walking by. SPY's about to break lifetime highs, though. It's right there. It's at 574.90s. Yeah, so we're here waiting. This is for the, again, this is for the U.S. Treasury Market Conference. We'll put it up on screen when it happens, but we got to wait for it. I'm going to mute the music in the background real quick just to make sure. Hold on. Make sure they're not saying anything good. Volume's up. Yeah, I don't hear anything yet. So I guess they're on hold. Jobless claims came in at 218,000 versus 225, 224 expected. So better than expected. Oh, yeah. I do need to change headphones. Appreciate it. Again, I don't know how much influence Powell's speech is going to have over markets today. Wait, how much is this? Okay, good. Let me make sure. Bear with me, Chad. I'm trying to. You drop stocks on bad earnings report when it drops. Do you short? Yeah, hold on, Chad. I don't know why my Bluetooth isn't connecting today. Let me see. All right, hold on, guys. I'm gonna share my screen, and then we're just not gonna put the sound up yet, just so you guys can look at something while I'm waiting. There you go. Look at the SPY. Just broke lifetime highs, hit 575s. There we go. There we go. All right, we're in here. Can y'all hear the music? It's very low right now, but look at SPY broke lifetime highs. MU and Supermicro shorts getting an Oprah moment. You buy stocks when bad earnings reports happen? Yeah, I do. I do buy blue chip stocks. I don't short after crazy pumps. There's a very specific reason, right? The reason I don't short because, okay. So the strategy I use, like if a stock has a really bad earnings report reaction, right? Usually the stocks that I'm buying are stocks that have these really big pullbacks where the earnings report really wasn't that bad. Right, so like if an earnings report is neutral, it's not terrible, but it's just neutral, and Amazon drops 20% from it, I might buy Amazon up in that situation. And the reason I do it is because I think it's an overreaction. You know, and you could argue, hey, you could do the same thing for shorts, but the plan I have when I buy back that 20% pullback is I buy the pullback, and generally it's going to fill the gap some. But if it doesn't, which certainly happens, if it doesn't fill the gap some and it continues to pull back, I'm buying stocks that I like anyway. So I like Amazon long term. Amazon's going to go up long term. And so I can buy Amazon on big pullbacks, get a really cheap entry. If it doesn't do what I want it to do short term, I can sit on that thing for years and I'm eventually going to make money. Usually it doesn't come to that. Usually it moves up pretty big and fills the gap in a couple weeks and I can take short term profit from it and maybe hold on to a piece of it for long term, right? But again, the whole edge of the trade, one of the big edges of the trade at least, is the fact that if it doesn't do what I want it to do short term, I can sit on it for as long as I need to because it's a super healthy blue chip company that's going to move up over time, in my opinion, right? And maybe I'm wrong, but generally I've made tons of money doing this. And so, yeah, the reason I don't short with the same logic is because the longer you hold a short position in blue chip stocks, the less likely you are to make money. The longer you hold a long position in stocks, the more likely you are to make money. And so the edge is just playing against me a lot there, you know, where like I can hold on to a blue chip stock long term and it's going to go up. If I try to short a blue chip stock long term, the longer I hold it, the worse it gets, right? Where if I buy up a blue chip stock, the longer I hold it, the best it gets, right? It's going to go up long term. Blue chip stocks are going to go up. And again, this is the biggest misconception a lot of people have, like Apple, Amazon, Walmart, Target, like whatever. They're going to go up over time, you know, and they have, like, it's very consistent. It's not super controversial of a statement either. If you look at like Apple here, and I put up this is a monthly chart, it's going to go up long term, right? Apple's going to be strong. You got people theorizing about weakness, but again, that doesn't mean anything. Apple's going to be strong. And again, I could be wrong. I certainly could be. I don't think I am, you know. Okay, so you can hear the music? All right, good. All right, Chad, we got 8 minutes left. 8 minutes left. Again, if you haven't already, check out Top Step. Again, we might day trade on Top Step today a little bit more. We were correct. Remember, we bought that dip earlier and we got into this nice little string of trades. If you look at this, we bought that dip earlier. Look at the string of trades we got in. So we got into a nice little string of trades. $80, lost 5, made 90, made 70, made 160. So a nice little string of trades buying that dip. And again, this is futures. So when I day trade futures, I am day trading essentially the QQQ price action. It's the same price action. No PDT in futures. I can day trade short, buy market, sell market. I only have one sponsor affiliate right now, and it's Top Step. And so I probably do maybe, like 3 or 4 plugs a day. which is like one plug every hour or so. Very reasonable, I think. But again, I'm biased. Okay, they're a sponsor of mine. You want to confirm all this stuff with them. But again, they give you a demo, test your skill with it. It's kind of like a challenge for day trading. But if you lose, it's not the end of the world versus putting up 5, 6, 7,000, 10,000 yourself and losing that's going to be pretty rough, right? Instead, limit your risk. It's $49 a month. You can test your skill in day trading. If you lose, you only lose the monthly subscription. In this case, it's $49. If you pass it, you know, once you're funded, I have a funded account here as well. So I have one funded account here. So far, I'm working on another one. Once you pass it, you can scale down, and there's zero commission in micros, right? So I can trade micro contracts here, and there's zero commission. If I pull up my 50K funded account, like you can see how, like once I'm funded, I scale down drastically, and I can make, you know, $1, $12, $12, $7, $5, $9, $10, $4, $6, and actually net profit on every one of those trades, right? And that's the powerful thing about Top Step is I can actually net on these small little trades trading micro contracts because the fees in micro contracts are less than $1 a trade. That's the biggest edge in funding right now, in my opinion. They have some of the best rules in the game once you're funded, and you know you can add to lose losses and all that cool stuff. So again, a great way to learn how to day trade. Most day traders lose money. It doesn't matter who you follow, what course you take. Almost all day traders lose money. And so if you want to check it out, here's the link. Great way to help support the channel. Again, they are a sponsor. I'm biased. All right, guys, we got 5 minutes. 10 minutes. Powell speaking for 10 minutes. He's going to stop speaking right before the open. Yeah. All right, guys, we got almost 1,300 people here live. Let's see what we get. Yeah, this is when I was in my jazz phase. I was like listening to jazz on stream. This was years ago. I built this playlist. Yes, it is Guess the Sound. So that's what I said. I don't know how much of an influence it's going to have, but we'll see. We're going to cover it regardless. You know, market still reacts to it regardless of any of that usually. I'm thankful Jerome Powell isn't my dad. Honestly, Papa Powell. You know what Powell's net worth is? I love my dad though. You know, shout out to my dad. But Powell has a net worth between 20 and 55 million. You know, he can adopt me. That's all I'm saying. Apple still moving up. Here's gold. Nvidia still around highs. Powell is speaking today specifically for, let me find it. Yeah, so again, Powell is speaking today specifically for, he's doing the opening remarks for the 2024 U.S. Treasury Market Conference, Federal Reserve Bank of New York. So yeah, so he's doing the opening remarks for the Treasury Conference today. And again, we got it on screen waiting here. He speaks in 4 minutes. Okay, here, I'm going to mute the music, and we're going to pause the music for now and get everything ready here.
I'm Brian Smith, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Federal Finance at Treasury, and welcome to the 2024 U.S. Treasury Market Conference. This is the 10th anniversary of this conference co-sponsored by the relevant authorities in the U.S. Treasury market, Treasury, the Federal Reserve Board, the SEC, the CFTC, and the New York Fed.
Sound check.
Over the past decade, this conference has served as an invaluable forum for collaboration across the official sector, the private sector, and academia to support the health of the U.S. Treasury market. Today, we're delighted to have several speeches lined up from senior officials across the joint member agencies, including Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, New York Fed President John Williams, Vice Chair for Supervision Michael Barr, SEC Chair Gary Gensler, and CFTC Chairman Russ Benham. We also have 3 panel discussions with industry leaders, academics, and members of the official sector. Those panels will be moderated by Scott Nixon, the acting chief economist at the CFTC, Michelle Neal, head of the markets group at the New York Fed, and Josh Frost, acting assistant secretary for financial markets at Treasury. These panels will cover a broad range of topics, including the use of futures in the Treasury market, recent developments in central clearing for U.S. Treasuries, and the evolution of Treasury market structure. I'll now turn it over to Brett Rose, with whom I'll be sharing today's MC duties.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, guys. Here we
Hi,
go.
I'm Brett Rose. I'm the Director of the Treasury and Mortgage Markets Directorate here at the New York Fed's Markets Desk. It's a pleasure to be joining everybody here again for our 10th annual conference. And I'm really looking forward to these events and hoping that everybody, gets into a lively set of discussions. Brian highlighted the agenda and the people that will be up here on stage, but I'd also like to acknowledge the tremendous set of attendees that we always get at this conference, which helps make for lively discussions during our breaks. And
Shout out to you, Brett.
given that, I'll go over some of the logistics for the day, and then we can get started with our content.
With Powell. Okay. Powell's got about a
First, I'd like
minute
to remind
left,
everybody
guys,
that
just to
today's
clarify.
conference is being live streamed to the public via webcast on
Yep.
the New York Fed's public website.
And on beginner
recordings
trading.
will be posted to our website soon after the conference. I'll also note that we have members of the press here, and therefore any remarks made during the day will be considered on the record unless otherwise noted.
All right. What color will
We'll
Powell's
also be
tie
opening
be?
up the audience to audience Q&A at various points during the day, and we will cue people when those are happening. And when we do that, we ask that people raise their hands, and somebody will bring a mic around to you. And please introduce yourself with your name and the institution you represent before you ask your question. And we'd really like to encourage audience Q&A. However, only conference attendees will be able to ask questions, not viewers on the public webcast. Similarly, we're going to have 3 poll questions after each of the 3 panels, 1 poll question each after each of the 3 panels. And these polls will be conducted using your phones. At that time, we'll show a QR code on the screen, and that will take you to the response page. These polls are anonymous and are meant to be a way for the audience to participate in the discussion here today.
Hey, subscribe, guys.
In terms of other logistics, we have copies of today's agenda and a bio book of the speakers and panelists just outside the conference center where you came in. There's also a coat check just outside the door where you came in if you want to leave coats or bags there. But please make sure you get everything before heading down to the reception, which will be down on the first floor.
What a guy.
And speaking of first floor, both the luncheon and the reception will be in the Liberty Room dining room on the first floor where you first checked in this morning. And we have 2 scheduled breaks that will be just right outside of the auditorium here.
I heard they're having sloppy joes.
Also, there are conference support staff here to help if you have any other questions. And you can see people with the special staff badges here. Probably not speaker badges. They wouldn't be as helpful. So without any further ado, it's my pleasure to kick off the conference with pre-recorded remarks from FOMC Chair Powell.
So,
Jerome Powell first took office as the chair of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System in 2018. In that role, Mr. Powell also serves as the chair of the Federal Open Market Committee. Mr. Powell has served as a member of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors since 2012. And prior to his work at the Federal Reserve, Mr. Powell has held a number of roles in public and private sectors, including Undersecretary for Domestic Finance at the Treasury. I ask you now to turn your attention to this video from Chair Powell.
all right, here we go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 10th Annual U.S. Treasury Market Conference. 10th Annual is a phrase that generates a bit of surprise and much pride. It is surprising because it does not seem like the first of these gatherings, which I was honored to play a role in organizing, was all that long ago. But we can also take pride because the conference has proven useful and important for a full decade, as I expect it will do for many more years to come. Much has changed in the economy since we first gathered in 2015, but the importance of the U.S. Treasury market has not. As you all know, this market is the deepest and most liquid in the world. In addition to meeting the financing needs of the federal government, it plays a critical role in the implementation of monetary policy. It is no exaggeration to say that the Treasury market is part of the bedrock of our economy and indeed of the world economy. The October 14 flash crash and the subsequent publication of the Interagency Working Group report on that event are what brought us together for the first annual conference. October 2014 was a wake-up call because there had never been such a large swing in Treasury prices in such a short period of time. The Interagency Working Group report shed light on how much the structure of the Treasury market had changed and how large a role high-speed electronic trading firms were playing in it. It also showed the value of cooperation and communication between the 5 agencies in the working group, something that proved again to be vital during the disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm pleased to see that all working group members are represented here today. You will be hearing directly from many senior leaders, including your host, President Williams, Vice Chair Barr, and Secretary Yellen, who of course was Fed Chair at the time of the first conference. It is essential that our Treasury markets are able to efficiently transform Treasury securities into cash, even at times of elevated stress. As I noted at this event in 2015, these markets need to keep functioning at a high level, and we all have a stake in making sure that they do. I remained wholly dedicated to that goal. I wish you a productive and educational conference. Thank you.
All right, guys. So that is Powell. That's it, I guess. Yeah. And again, like, you don't want to watch the rest of it. The rest of it is kind of boring.
Thank you to Chair Powell for those remarks. It's now my pleasure to introduce John Williams. He's the president and CEO of the
So we'll leave this guy up, but we're going to cover the open.
2018.
So I'm just going to leave the audio playing.
Serves as vice chair and
But
member of the
I'm probably
FOMC.
going to turn it off.
Before joining the New York Fed, he was president and CEO of the San
Yeah,
Francisco
didn't
Fed
really do
since
much.
2011, and
Nvidia's fallen down.
research director.
Spy's falling down. Do
President
y'all want to
Williams
hear?
began his career as an economist at the
Do y'all want to hear John Williams speaking? Yeah, this was kind of a boring one, and that's all right. Like I said, this is how it goes sometimes. Powell's speech is now done. Didn't really mean much. You know, we cover all of them though. Here's John Williams. No John Williams. All right, fair enough.
Well, welcome everyone.
Yeah, again, I don't think it's going to be that big, so we'll go ahead and end it. And not in the stream. Stick around. We're going to day trade live at the opening bell on Top Step X today. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Nvidia getting close to highs of the day and then rejecting, still in that range. Again, the SPY is going to break lifetime highs at the opening bell today. So the SPY is going to be breaking lifetime highs at the opening bell. So far, so good. We will be day trading our actual funded account at the opening bell today. We'll see what that looks like. All right, so yeah. Yeah, so again, we'll see if we get some volatility. I'll put the music back on. And, yeah, that's it. Now that Powell is done, we'll put some other stuff up. Again, market opens up in 4 minutes, chat, 4 minutes. Yeah, we're going to be day trading the open. We'll see if we get, hopefully we get something good, man. I don't know if I accidentally exited out of my day trading examples here. I think I did. Let me find this up. But yeah, the rest of this speech is kind of just boring. Like, we cover all of it. Like, we want people to be able to see everything here. Let me put the music back on. I got you guys here. There you go. Let me know if you can hear it. You should be able to hear it. It should be all good. We got the market open up in like 4 minutes, though, so be ready. Yeah, that's all Powell had to say. It was a pre-recorded video. I told you guys it wasn't going to be much, and it wasn't. You know, we're going to move on to trading the opening bell now. Appreciate the subs and all the love. Appreciate the love. Again, market opens up in 3 minutes now. Let's see if we get some good stuff now. Again, Powell spoke. We got GDP data out. Get rid of the Powell stuff. I get Powell's now done. All right, guys. Market's opening up very soon. Very soon. You get jobless claims came out today. It's already out. GDP data's out. Powell spoke. We got GDP data coming out. Oh, what else do I want to do? There we go. All right, so now we're breaking down a little bit. I do want to buy this dip, but market opens up in about 1 minute, chat. So market opens up in about 1 minute. So again, stick around. We got to be day trading the market open live like we always do. Again, if you haven't already, check out Top Step. Top Step funded account program in futures. They give you a demo. They test your skill with the demo first. If you pass the test, they fund you. That's what we're day trading on today. And again, the huge edge is that there's no commissions, only a tiny amount of fees. No commissions, only a tiny amount of fees. So I can buy micro contracts, make $10, $8, $3, $2, $6, $4, 74 cents per trade in fees. Best funded account program edge, in my opinion. Best rules in the game for funding. They give you a demo, test your skill in futures. In the futures market, there's no PDT rule. If you pass the test, they fund you. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for. They pay out over $40 million to traders since 2022. Great way to learn how to day trade with limited risk. And I'll put the link up here. I like the music. Yeah, do y'all like this music better or worse? One thing you learn running a community like this is that you can't make everybody happy, right? So some people are going to like the music, some people are going to dislike the music, and that's okay. Here's the market open. Ding, ding, ding. There's the market open, guys. Nvidia just broke highs right after the market open. I'm not going to trade it. We got to wait. So again, we got to wait a second here and let things play out first. But we are now day trading the market open. Too slow? Calming, better music, calming, elevator. All right, we're gonna have to figure out votes. All right, look at the market turn here. Look at the NASDAQ drop big at the opening bell. Nvidia completely turned after breaking highs, got up to 127. The SPY opened up at lifetime highs at 574s. So the SPY did open up at lifetime highs, but it's now coming back pretty big. I'm gonna get ready to buy this dip if we can. Oh, I was gonna buy the dip. There's the big retracement. I was getting ready for it. I should have. We'll wait. Again, we are going to be day trading at the market open here, chat. What do you think of gold? Gold's breaking lifetime highs recently. All right, I got to wait for at least a couple minutes to pass after the opening bell. Gold's currently sitting at 26.91. 26.91. What's inevitable? All right, so big pullback here. I'm gonna start buying up this dip now. Oh my gosh. I just traded the regular NASDAQ at the opening bell. I made $85 to start the day. That's great, but I traded the wrong thing. I didn't want to trade regular NASDAQ. I wanted to trade the micro contracts. Here, I just made almost $100 in about 5 seconds. So that's good, but definitely a little risky there. Now I'm gonna start buying in this with smaller size, 2 contracts. We got a little cushion on the day now. That's nice. Take half of that off. Lock it in. We'll add back to this too. Give it some time. Let's see if we can retrace back up.
You could say I had a plan way before I had a fan. Someone probably call it luck. I just call it being blessed. You ain't never did.
All right, so I'm trying to see if we can bounce back up here.
Lately I I could never stress.
Definitely not the drop I wanted here. All right, so we cut half of it right there. Yeah, that's a big drop. So we just gave some of it back. I'm gonna see if we can add some volatility. The most I ever made on accident was a couple $100. I accidentally bought. This was before Tesla split, when Tesla was like, I can't remember how much it was. I accidentally bought 100 shares of it. A huge move. I'm gonna let the opening bell play out first. We're still up, you know, 50, 60 bucks. Would you recommend buying gold or waiting? I have no idea. Is the music too loud? Yeah, I can turn it down a little bit. Let me know. So it's only day trading. So somebody's saying, tell me the rules. It's only day trading. They give you a demo. The base one you get, 50K, the 50K demo. If you can make, here's the rules right here. Again, you want to confirm all this stuff with them. They're an affiliate of mine, and just I'm giving you this since you're asking. It's 49 bucks a month. You got to make $3,000 in profit to pass the test without losing $2,000 first. 5 contracts max. There's more rules that you got to follow. But these are the base rules. Check everything else out. But again, you can kind of see, like, look, they've paid out over $40 million since 2020. Funded almost 50,000 traders. They've been around for over 12 years. So, honestly, we were buying this dip. It would have worked, too. This is Top Step X. I'm going to try to start to take some size here. We got a cushion at the start of the day. So there's 4 contracts here. Oof. Well, worst case scenario there on my funded account. Now we're about flat on the day, unfortunately. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to pivot to our challenge account right now for a second. Just because we can. The market's actually correcting pretty fast here on the bottom. Wow. So again, like, we'll see what happens to it, but the market's super, super red. Just completely filled the whole gap on the upside down, unfortunately. But yeah, so we're going to switch to our challenge account. And this challenge account, and we'll come back to trading our actual funded account later on today. This challenge account, we are up $223 already. I'm pretty sure this is the right one. Let me make sure. Yeah, this is the right one. Okay. So yeah, so this challenge account, we're up a couple $100. Lost $1,000? No, I didn't lose anywhere close to $1,000. I lost about like 150. It's a big drop at the opening bell too. So, you know, like I said, we're not perfect. We're going to take bad trades. This is a big drop though. All right, so we're going to start buying into this dip, see if we can get funded. So there's 3 contracts. All right, so we took half off, took another. All right, so we just made another 3. Here, sorry, I'm not feeling some of this music. It's a little bit too. Here, I could probably leave the rest going. But you can kind of see my string of trades today. We're doing okay. We'll come back to our actual funded account in a second. Yeah, definitely top 3 worst ever of all time traders in the world right now. Jazz music playlist. Yeah. All right, so we're down there again, man. Look at these drops, dude. I'm trying to bet on a bounce back, but it's also kind of risky here. So we just bought another dip. I want to see if Nvidia comes back up. So we're kind of flat on this position here, but there we go. All right, so we just made another 70 here. We're very close to actually getting funded, I think, on this one. So, yeah, this current account is up to over $1,500. So the speech already happened. Link isn't working? It depends on where you live. Some places you can't use them. It just depends on where you live. Let me make sure my link is working. Yeah, my link works. So. Powell already spoke. Yeah, so Powell did a pre-recorded video about 10 minutes after, or before the open, preceding the open. Again, Nvidia at 127s. So Nvidia just had this big green move. Powell finished his talk today. Yeah, I mean, people acting like I'm scamming people. Like, look, dude, I literally tell people, number one, top 3 worst trader of all time. Number 2, I literally plug sponsors. Anytime I plug a sponsor, I literally say verbatim, I'm biased in their favor because they pay me money. Check it all with them. Can't guarantee anything, right? And so if you're still mad about that, obviously, like, look, 40 million in payouts. You can say whatever you want about Top Step, but 40 million in payouts. Like, people are just mad. Most of the time, the people that say that are people who lose money. And then instead of being like, yo, like, I'm not that good, like I do if I lose money, they instead blame the broker or whomever else they can. You know what I mean? And so, you know, it's all good. But, yeah, almost all day traders lose money. It doesn't matter whether you're on Top Step, whether you're on TD Ameritrade, whether you're on Schwab, IB, Interactive Brokers. Almost all day traders lose money, you know? And so people can say whatever they want, but, like, come on now. You are as good as anyone. I'm definitely have my moments, but I also don't do good sometimes, you know. Again though, like my funded account, we're green on that account. The other thing though is, like, you guys know me. If you guys know me, my TOS account most of this year has had, you know, $500,000 in buying power. Like, we've had liquid couple 100,000 in that account most of this year, right? And so I don't really need to get funded. And so how I trade on these funded programs is just different. Like, right? Like, it's coming from somebody that doesn't actually need the funding. And I think anybody that watches the stream enough knows that, that, like, I really just don't need the funding. And then again, but most people aren't like that. Most people do. And so, you know, the value that they get for it is big because most people need it. All right, so we're in 3 contracts here. I'd like a pop up. We're going to trade off the cushion we've made today. Now we're getting beat. Man, the market just keeps churning down. Yeah, I'm going to have to cover it. And I think it's really easy on days where I'm losing to come and try to poke fun if you're like a hater. If something I'm doing is making you like insecure. You know, if you're struggling. Like, I got a lot of people that I definitely know some of them in real life that like see me on YouTube and they end up like just kind of desperately wanting to poke at me because of their own insecurities, right? They're struggling, maybe they're not where they want to be or whatever, and they see me on YouTube with, you know, a couple thousand people there, and so that makes them feel some type of way about it, and then they get weird. Certainly, that definitely is going on at least a little bit, but in the end, I try to do good. I think most of the chat knows, like, I try to do right by you guys. Like, I try to be honest. I try to tell you guys the truth when I can, you know what I mean? I try to be honest with people, you know, because like I definitely make money from sponsors for sure, right? But like in order to make money, I tell people the truth, and like I think I protect traders in that regard as well. I think the same people that are going to try these funded account programs, if they didn't have it, they would be risking thousands and thousands of their own money and potentially losing thousands and thousands of their own money, you know? And so I think you have to look at it with that context in mind. Like, most day traders are going to lose money. You know, like, that's inevitable. Here, I'll put this up. Sorry, I was going to switch, but then I kind of got into this string of green trades. But most day traders are going to lose money, right? Like, that's normal. Anybody that understands day trading understands it. And again, I'm not one of those people. Like, they got a lot of people out there that just act like it's easy. If you just buy their course or service, they act like you could just get rich. And again, that's just not me. You know, like, I'd rather be honest with people and tell them, look, you're probably going to lose this. Right, like you're probably going to lose. Like, if you ask any real trader, they're going to tell you that you're probably going to lose. Right now, it's a lot cheaper to lose a Top Step account than it is to put up your own couple $1,000s and lose that. And I think everybody understands that truth, right? And that's a valuable thing, right? Like when I first got started, I lost $3,000-4,000 in like a couple weeks, you know. And that's honestly, it was a net positive for me because that's when I started this YouTube channel. Was when I got started. I watched the movie The Big Short. I've told this story probably at least 300-400 times, but I watched the movie The Big Short. I came home and I was a chess and a poker player prior to that. Loved strategy games. I loved using my wits to beat people, you know. And so I was a strategy player, and I saw that you could basically do the same thing in stocks and trading. And so I got home and I Googled it, and Tim Sykes, you know, millionaire students, financial freedom. Yeah, guys showed up. And so I thought I was about to just get rich quick. Again, I make the joke about Steve earlier, but I make that joke because that's what I thought in the beginning, right? Like I thought my family was going to be like, wow, look at John. He's a prodigy savant trader. Look at how great he is, John. Again, I just ended up losing thousands of dollars in the first couple weeks, giving up trading for almost a year. I started this channel, and I called it beginner trading because I noticed everybody else was trying to act like gurus. And so I wanted to be different. I wanted to stand out. I didn't want to be that. So I just told people I sucked, you know, which is true at the time. Might be true now, you know, but it helped me stick out. And so even though I lost like $3 or $4 grand in the beginning, even though I lost thousands in the beginning, I gave up trading for like a year, but I had already uploaded multiple different videos. And so while I gave it up, I would kind of check on the YouTube, and the YouTube was growing. Like people were watching the videos. They were watching the videos. Until eventually I decided, all right, I'm going to come back. I'm going to try to grow this community, and I'm just going to be honest with them about everything. And that's what we did. We started off at penny stocks, got our butt kicked at penny stocks, and eventually gravitated towards like blue chip investments, economics, and that's where we are now, you know. And so people can say whatever they want about my day trading. Maybe I do suck, right? Like I'm not here to argue that. Like people think it's some big attack on me to say I suck at day trading. Listen, I might suck at day trading. I don't freaking know. I'm definitely good at predicting economics and long-term stock market movement. I've done really well there. And in day trading, I do okay too. Like again, I'm not claiming to be the best, but you know, there's variance for sure. It's just like poker. You know, you could do everything right and still lose. You might do everything wrong like me, still win. In the end, though, that $4,000 was definitely worth it because I ended up making this channel, and this channel has far exceeded anything I ever lost. So, just to be blunt, you know. Yeah, I was definitely the top 3 male gigolos in the world right now. You know, they were thinking about hiring me for Deuce Bigelow, but they didn't, you know. I'm still bummed out about it. Look, so we, you know, like I said, we got up and down. We just made $300, $400, $500. Crashed in my super micro semiconductor calls. If you make some coin on that open hits you. Hey, thank you so much, Ed. I appreciate the donation, brother. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, I definitely make so much more money marketing than I do as a trader, for sure. But I'm not really claiming to be a good trader, right? Like I'm not claiming to be some guru trader. If anything, that's the opposite of what my channel is literally called beginner trading, right? And so I think people want to take shots at me that way, but it's like, look, dude, my channel's called beginner trading. You know, I'm not even claiming to be anything. And really, again, my channel's mostly based off of economics and investing. Right? Like we day trade, sure, but like we're mostly economy channels. Like we get most of our views from economic data, and people know we cover it fast, and they know we break it all down. And so that's why people tune into the channel. We got some day traders, sure, and we day trade, but again, it's not like, you know, yeah, like that's not what the channel really is anymore. We've kind of evolved past that, to be honest. Fed next cut in 2025. Nah, bro. The Fed's going to cut next month. I think it's just going to be 25 basis points, but they're going to cut almost certainly. No, unless the probabilities have just drastically changed. No, so yeah. Next meeting in November, they're expecting about 44% of people are expecting another 25 basis point cut. 56% of people are expecting a 50 basis point cut, which is kind of crazy. So right now, the probabilities are actually more weighted towards another 50 basis point cut, which is super high. But yeah, thanks for the donation, Ed. I appreciate it. Hey, baby. How you doing? You know, come on stream. You don't look bad. I mean, you look fine. You're hanging out there with the dogs. I heard him barking for a second. Yeah. Yeah, so again, we're breaking down here.
Morning, everyone.
Carol's here with me. I'm not apologizing for anything, you know. I like to sit here and apologize to absolutely no one, you know. Top 3 least apologizing traders on YouTube in the world right now. I love this channel because it's not about trading. I'm a long-term investor and love it. Right, 100%. Like we, anybody that watches the channel knows, like we day trade, sure, but we also cover economics, and that's kind of the big thing that we cover mostly. We kind of, like I said, we've evolved past it. Day trading is great, but I think if you want long-term money, you know, value investing, the biggest edge you'll ever have in markets. All right, Nvidia just cracked lows. You know, we've had a good little string in the last couple minutes, but we'll see if we can keep it up. Nvidia down there. Hey, Ed, thanks for the donation. Okay, they heard me yesterday. You asked what I want from the store, and I said organic Fruity Pebbles. They exist. I'm telling you, Carol.
They do exist. I might even be able to find a box. So it's the brand Cascadia or
Cascadia Farms. Cascade
yeah,
Farms.
So they do
organic
have,
Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah. So instead of having like the artificial dyes and stuff, they use like for the red coloring they use like beets or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so let me go see if I have a box and I can show y'all.
Organic Fruity Pebbles exist. Your presentation and atmosphere, great. Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, for sure. Making money is more than day trading, 100%. I'm more like business. I like business. I like investing, you know, and everything, right? Like we talk about watches because watches could be somewhat of an investment. They're not perfect. They're definitely variance heavy and volatile, but you can buy watches and they'll hold value. You could basically buy a Rolex, wear it for 3, 4, 5 years, sell it for more than you paid for it. Basically, you got a free Rolex to wear for 5 years, and you'll actually profit from it most of the time. You know, if you buy it at the opportune time.
All right, so look, this is the brand. So this is like a different one. They're like little like.
So these are like
bites.
Little tricks kind of things, but they
Yeah,
also have
but
Fruity
look-
Pebble, gluten free.
Yeah, look, see, they got the organics on.
Yeah.
So it's this brand, but we're out of the. Of course, those get eaten first. But it's this brand.
Yeah. So yes, again, I'm telling you, they do have organic Fruity Pebbles, guys. Like, get your mind right, okay? Don't call me a liar.
Yeah, it's Cascadian Farms is the name. I don't know. And they have all kinds of gluten-free options.
Yeah.
Our son has to eat gluten-free.
Yeah.
And so those are.
That's what he's using.
I don't think that the Fruity Pebbles are gluten-free though, but they are organic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all right.
I know we could find them at you could find them at Whole Foods or H-E-B.
Yeah.
You know, those kind of stores. Or Kroger's, I think that
Yeah.
they might have them too.
Kroger has them.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a risk here and add. This is a challenge account, so if we lose it, it's not the end of the world. I'm trying to trade like a range, but it's getting kind of risky. And again, just to put this in perspective, like all these challenge accounts, you got to take risks, right? Like risks are necessary. There we go. One contract left. All right, so we just made another $100 or so. We've got a nice little string of trades here. Yeah, Powell spoke about 40 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. No, it's not organic free, it's organic.
Yeah, I was just looking at the ingredients, and it's got, I mean, it probably be hard for y'all to see, but it's got everything, and then it says on the bottom organic.
Yeah, honestly, Carol helps me stay healthy. Like, I literally bring this big glass jug to Jiu-Jitsu as my water bottle because she doesn't like me drinking in plastic, right? Like, so I have this huge jug. Everybody at Jiu-Jitsu makes fun of me. They actually, they poke fun of it at first, and then they're like, hey, why do you have that? And I tell them, I'm like, hey, my wife doesn't like me drinking out of plastic. And every single person I've told has been like, hey, that's smart. Like, that's smart. And so, like, you know, I appreciate it.
Yeah, Those
Thank you, baby. I
microplastics.
appreciate it. Good wife right there. Any predictions for PCE tomorrow? Yeah, so tomorrow's economic reports are much bigger than today's, believe it or not. So the Fed likes to look at PCE inflation data to gauge whether we're heading towards, whether they need to be more restrictive. If inflation's high, the Fed's more restrictive, meaning pushing for higher interest rates. Tomorrow's report is big on that. Tomorrow's report is expected to show up at 0.2%. The core PCE excludes food and energy. That's the big one, 0.2%. We also have the good trades balance, which is basically the balance between how much imports and exports we're doing. If we're exporting, it's better than importing. But we're expected about 100 billion more imports than exports for that. But that comes out tomorrow as well, right? We also have Michigan 1-year, 5-year inflation expectations and consumer sentiment data coming out tomorrow. So tomorrow's a big day too. It's not small.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. No, she's a good
do,
wife. She really is.
you know.
Yeah, she's a good wife.
And actually,
she
on,
tries.
on the mason jars, y'all, I know this isn't trading related, but if you like to eat fruit, you get like strawberries and blueberries and raspberries, blackberries, all that, and you put them in the carton in like 2 days, they start molding. Well, take them, when you get them from the store, take them and stick them in a mason jar and seal them. Don't wash them. You wash them when you want them.
Yeah.
But if you do that and you seal them in the mason jar in your fridge, they'll stay for like weeks. If you really like, they might not taste exactly the same, but they won't mold. I mean, of course, you have to pick, if there's some berries, you have to pick if they has like a little mold on it, pick that one out, but the rest of them will stay.
Yeah. I don't know far. We try.
Ziploc bags. Yep.
Yeah, wait, all the water we drink, we try to be healthy, because again, we're very blessed people, we do well, and so what's the point of doing well if you're not healthy, right? And so we try our best, and I'm not saying we're perfect. I'm not saying we don't waste our time being healthy in some ways where it's kind of insignificant anyway, but we try to be healthy. We try to make our kids healthy. We just want to protect our kids, and so we try.
Steve Jobs had said when he was sick and he was about to pass, he had said, you could have all the money in the world, but if you don't have your health, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but if you don't have...
Yeah, this is what he said. So look, the good thing about AI is it'll give you a quote. So,
look, yeah, right here, look, go.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to find it. There's a longer one that he said. Okay, this is what he said. So again, honestly, it's super heavy. Nvidia's pushing up. Let's see if the market starts to follow it. Nvidia's over the volume weighted average price, 200 EMA. So Steve Jobs said, quote, "I reached the pinnacle of success in the business world. In others' eyes, my life is the epitome of success. However, aside from work, I have little joy. In the end, my wealth is only a fact of life that I am accustomed to. At this point, lying on my bed and recalling my life, I realized that all the recognition and wealth that I took so much pride in have paled and become meaningless in the face of my death. You can employ someone to drive the car for you. You can make money for you, but you cannot have someone bear your sickness for you. Material things lost can be found or replaced, but there's one thing that can never be found when it's lost: life. Whichever stage in life you're in right now, with time, you will face the day when the curtains fall. Treasure love for your family, love your spouse, love for your friends. Treat yourself well and cherish others. As we grow older and hopefully wiser, we realize that a $3,000 or a $30 watch both tell the same time. You'll realize that your true inner happiness does not come from material things of this world. Whether you fly first class or economy, if the plane goes down, you're going down with it. Therefore, I hope you realize when you have mates, buddies, and old friends, brothers and sisters who you chat with, laugh with, talk with, sing with, talk about north, south, east, west, or heaven and earth, that is true happiness. Don't educate your children to be rich. Educate them to be happy, so when they grow up, they will know the value of things and not the price. Eat your food as your medicine. Otherwise, you'll have to eat your medicine as your food. The one who loves you will never leave you for another, because if there are 100 reasons to give up, he or she will find a reason to hold on. There's a big difference between a human being and being human. Only if you really understand it. You are loved when you are born. You will be loved when you die. In between, you have to manage. The 6 best doctors in the world are sunlight, rest, exercise, diet, self-confidence, and friends. Maintain them in all stages and enjoy a healthy life." End quote. I think that's Steve Jobs.
That's deep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. That's deep.
Yeah, it's deep. I told you it was heavy. I've read it before. It's heavy,
Yeah, eat your food as medicine, or your medicine as food.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Right, exactly, Max. I think that's the logic in it too. I've also been using honey in my jiu-jitsu water. Honey's really good for you, and they say it's like a better form of electrolytes or something. I don't know what the argument is, but I just Google it. Kudo. Google it.
You gotta Google the full quote. Though.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that when you're already rich. Yeah, I get it too, right? Like, people say money doesn't equal happiness. Are people who already have it, right? And that's true, right? Money doesn't necessarily equal happiness. I think money's good because it eliminates a lot of stresses you have in your life. It also creates more stresses in some areas. Definitely does. But you're less stressed when you're comfortable. And when you're comfortable, you're happier, you know? And I think that's what it really is. Like, that's the truth.
Well, and also, one man's floor is another man's ceiling. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's, I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. No, 100%. And again, you think, like, I saw one on social media that really said it well. And it basically said, you think making $3,000 a month is a lot until you make somebody making 10. You think $10,000 a month is a lot until you meet somebody making 50. You think 50K is a lot a month until you meet somebody making 100. You think 100 is a lot until you meet somebody making $1 million. You think $1 million's a lot until you make somebody making 10 million a month, and so forth and so on, right? So it's relative. Everything's relative. There's levels in everything, and so, you know. Anyways, guys, we're kind of flat right now. Let me see what I'm up. I don't know if I'm up or down in this account, to be honest, today. Okay, we're up. We're up about 320 in this account right now. So we basically made all our money back that we lost originally in that trade. I'm watching Nvidia. Like, Nvidia has popped over the volume weighted average price very well. It's up to 127s. So we're watching it. We're seeing if we can take some trades. But the problem is we're choppy today. The problem is down, up, right? So we have this rectangular range that's not really doing anything so far at Nvidia. And Nvidia is leading the market. Gold is corrected on the downside some today after breaking lifetime highs again. Tesla's down a little bit. And the SPY broke lifetime highs at the opening bell. And so the new lifetime highs on the SPY currently are 574.70s. 574.70s are the new lifetime highs in the SPY. I'm not sure what the leverage is for gold. I don't think there's different leverages for different symbols. Now, the gold moves, I can't remember how much per tick, but the symbol is /GC in futures. I don't really like sparkling water that much. Like, I'll drink it if I'm thirsty, but I'm not really a big fan of it. I like regular water. Carol's a big sparkling water drinker.
Yeah, I like sparkling water.
Top 3 in the world, but...
And it's Waterloo. Don't drink LaCroix. They come out and said that it wasn't really all that good. The Waterloo is good, though.
Yeah, Waterloo's good. I don't know. LaCroix is probably fine.
But especially if you could find, like, a sparkling mineral water in a glass bottle, that's where you really...
Yeah, that sounds like a business idea, you know?
Well, just the fact that it's in glass. You know those cans, they have, like, a plastic... All of the cans have plastic liners in it. So...
Money can't buy happiness, but it already contributes to it by making everyday life easier. 100%, I agree. All right, guys. Jerome Powell already spoke. He's not doing a Q&A today. He did a pre-recorded speech.
All right, y'all.
All right, you're out?
Yeah.
All right, baby.
I have some stuff I gotta do around the house. Good
All
luck,
right.
everyone.
All right, I love you.
Love you.
All right, Carol's out. Yeah, she's a good wife, you know. And even I disagree with her in some of the stuff. Like, sometimes I feel like she is a little bit too worried about stuff like that. And so, you know, they say opposites attract. In that regard, you know, her and I can be opposites. But she's a good wife. She tries. She cares about us, you know, so that's good. Yeah, I've been with Carol for almost 15 years now. How long have we been together? Slept well? Okay, good. Nice, good. Yeah, so Carol and I have been with each other, what, 14 years? Yeah.
Coming up on 15.
Oh, 15
Next
years.
summer will be 15.
Okay, yeah, we've been married for 10.
Going on 11.
Yeah, going on 11. But yeah. All right, baby. Love you. You think 6K on the S&P? Where's the S&P at? S&P is currently, yeah, I mean, it could hit 6K soon. It's getting close. It's at 57.50s. You know, I'm trying to, all right, we're gonna buy this dip again. It ultimately depends on Nvidia. This dip, we got a cushion we're gonna swing into. Took half of it off. Took the other half off. So just made another 160. Nice little string of trades here, getting us green. You locked her down fast. I mean, dude, like, look. Yeah. All right. I didn't forget the day we meet. I know exactly the day I met Carol. You know, you gotta understand. I got 850, 900 people here. I don't necessarily want to tell. Like, we need to retain some privacy here. You know, so like, it's not that I forgot. I just don't feel like saying it. You know. Again, the day I met Carol. I met Carol a couple times, right? The day I met her, I knew her friend. I knew her friend, and her friend invited me over to Carol's apartment to hang out with him with another friend of mine. And like, her friend was kind of trying to mess around with me or whatever, but I thought Carol, you know, was prettier, to be blunt, and so I didn't really like her friend, and so yeah, I you know, I started talking to Carol instead, and her friend got kind of weird about it, and you know, ultimately the friend was toxic, you know. And so anyways, but Carol, when I met her, was about to move to Houston, you know, so she was about to move to Houston like weeks after I had met her, and we started dating, and then so I came here and kind of came with her to Houston, and that's how I got to Texas from Louisiana originally. Nvidia is sitting right under that 200 EMA, a big downward pressure here. I don't know what I want to do. I'm trying to see. Yeah, I mean, we're up $500 today in this one. What's the macro view? We get a recession in 25? In 25? Nah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't see economic reports. Yeah. Yeah, Carol and I, you know, again, it's a long story. Carol and I, yeah, it's a long story. What Yeah, Powell's speech was at 9:20. Can you explain contracts for us dummies? So contracts, there's multiple different. So if you ever hear the word quad witching day, right? Quad witching day refers to a historical day of volatility in which all the major financial contract types expire same day, right? And this includes options, like stock options, like Apple options, Tesla options, index options, so like the S&P 500, the Dow options, the NASDAQ options, like index fund options, and index futures, like the NASDAQ futures, like the S&P 500 futures, right? Like what you see me trading is technically an index future, but it's a contract, meaning it expires every quarter, right? Aside from that, it's very similar to day trading stocks, right? So the only big difference is like every tick, like each symbol, each contract has a different profit or loss per tick, right? So like the NASDAQ 100 moves $5 per tick. So every contract I buy, if it goes up one tick, I make $5. If it goes down one tick, I lose $5, right? If I have two contracts and it goes up one tick, I make $10. If it goes down one tick and I have two contracts, I lose $10, right? And so forth and so on. And the E-mini has $12.50 per tick. The NASDAQ has $5 per tick. Each symbol you trade has different per tick profit or loss value in futures. Aside from that, it's just like day trading. Like it's very similar to day trading stocks. The only other big difference is that they expire quarterly, right? Which is where quad witch comes from, because contracts expire quarterly. So every quarter you have to, so the symbol will be NQ in futures, but the last three digits will depend on the quarter of the year, right? So so when they expire depends on the quarter of the year, right? So this one is Z, meaning it expires the last quarter of the year. And so these will expire in December, I think, the next quarter. And every quarter, every 3 months, you have to switch these out, basically, to the most volatile one. Top Step X automatically does that for you, so like you don't even have to do that yourself on Top Step X. Really, I don't think. You might want to check with them to be safe. But yeah. You told us your game is strategy, but you're not forward looking. I mean, of course I'm forward looking, but I don't think it's necessarily predictable right now, right? Like, of course I look forward into the future. My game is forward looking in terms of long-term investments. The economy is a different animal, right? What I mean by that is, like, Jerome Powell might say he's going to do one thing today. Like during the FOMC meeting last Wednesday, Powell said that the plan was to do 50 basis points last Wednesday and then do 25 basis points in November and 25 basis points in December, right? So in theory, he would be doing 1% rate cut this year. He's bringing rates down a full 100 basis points, a full 1%. But again, I've watched enough FOMC meetings to understand that just because Powell says one thing does not mean that's what he's going to do. And he might do a number of different things instead, depending on what the economic data shows. And so it's too premature to bet on what's going to happen next year in 2025. Now, I could throw out some random bet just to appease you guys, but it's not going to be accurate. And anybody that you see doing that is usually just trying to get attention. Right, they're telling people what they want to hear, but nobody freaking knows at this point in time, especially in terms of like how many basis points is Powell going to cut for the remainder of this year. Again, I think it's going to be 50, but again, now the probabilities, if you look at the CME Watch tool, are showing basically over 50% chance of another 50 basis point cut, and that doesn't even include December. And so if that's the case, we might drop rates by a full 1.5 percentage points or more if we continue to do this standard of 50 basis points per meeting, which is every 6 weeks, right? And so again, I guess the point is these probabilities are going to change up and down depending on inflation data, economic reports, the payroll numbers, the labor market. Like they're going to get influenced by a lot of different factors that we are unable to know right now. And so yes, we could argue whether we're going to be in a recession or not. Nobody freaking knows. And the more somebody acts like they do know, the less experience they probably have. And that's what you got to look at. That's the lens you got to look at all this stuff under. He didn't say October because there's no meeting in October. It happens every 6 weeks. And so the next meeting is not in October. The next meeting is in November, December. If I said October, I didn't mean to. I don't think I did, but I might have. I don't freaking know. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and bow out for the day. Again, if you want to check out Top Step, I've been day trading on there today. We got a nice little string of trades. You know, you can check out all our trades there. Nice little run through of trades here. And we'll see if we can hit it or not and like get some more. But not a bad little string of trades. So out of the last, let's see, out of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 trades, we've had 2 losses. 2 out of 15 is not bad in the last 15 trades. I'll take it. You know, so again, if you haven't already, hit the sub button, hit the notification bell. I appreciate the love. Yeah. Have a great day, guys. Tomorrow, yeah, we have 2 meetings left this year. They're happening every 6 weeks. The last one was last Wednesday, so we don't have a meeting in October. It's in November and December. But anyways, guys, I'm going to bow out. Again, if you want to check out Top Step, tiny amount of fees per trade, the biggest edge in trading in my opinion. Link is in the description. I love you all. You'll have a great day. Again, tomorrow, an absolutely massive day in markets. We're going to step away. There's no movement here anymore. It's up, down, up, down, up, down. The market's boring sideways in Nvidia. SPY is sitting right at the previous closing price. We broke lifetime highs, but now we're basically been stagnating for the last 30-40 minutes. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Again, PCE data tomorrow. The biggest report of the week is tomorrow, guys. So again, tune in at 8:30. We will be here streaming live like we always do. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. And yeah, hopefully we get some good stuff today. Y'all be good. I'll see you guys later.